We'll just put it underneath temp.
I already have HP and temp is the thing.
Oh.
And it's not like it was temp, but it wasn't like time sensitive temp.
All temp HP is time sensitive.
I'll put it at 3 then.
Anthony, make sure you ask Tom about the temporary hit points.
Yeah, I was talking the entire time, but I was muted. I was saying that temporary HP usually lasts until the spell specifies that it lasts. If it doesn't specify, it lasts until the end of a long rest, I think. But I'll check the rules on that. Usually specifies. And I usually let people just keep it because, I mean, you gained it, you might as well use it. You know, what's the point of it expiring, sort of thing? Is it adding anything to the game? Not really. You know, but to not lose any more time, because we are already starting an hour and a half later, I'll dive us right in as soon as I launch up the music. There it is.
Gimme.
And sure, my camera, why not?
Give me them sweet tunes. Yeah, live country. Send it, boy.
That ain't country, but alright.
Country
A very brief review of last session. By the way, is my volume fine? I fucked around with my mic a little bit. Okay. Where are we at? It is the dawn of the 9th of Quen Pilar, 8:35 post-divergence. This morning, as you go through your morning rituals, the sound of the inn's patrons gathering for breakfast downstairs comes and carries through the floorboards. A sweet, fragrant aroma wafts from the harried Munkus's kitchen, that of honeyed butterfly PT and fusaka spiced fish, as I'll put us on the inn map. There we are. This morning, you witnessed, as you went about your morning rituals, a yellow-green skinned tiefling wearing druidic leathers, going door to door, handing out these advertisements for a discount for a new, devilishly good sulfurous treatment at the local steam gardens in the River District. From outside your window, you can hear an elven orator regale a crowd of early risers with legends of mages from the Age of Arcanum. You see two familiar-looking street urchins sit by and listen in awe. You watch the changing of the guard as the Day's Watch Hand of Ord arrive at their posts, metal greaves upon stone streets marching in cadence. You glimpse a bright feathered hummingbird flutter close to your window as it suckles upon equally brilliant desert blooms, growing, flourishing upon verdant vines clinging to the side of the building. It is a serene morning as you take your time to gather you and your party downstairs, get some breakfast, get the day going, collect your thoughts, and plan for the day ahead. You know, really wait for the DM to get his shit together and get some lunch. As you gather. Come dawn of your third day in Akerel, Mushid briefly joins you for one last breakfast. The Three Kreen thanks you for using his services and providing him food and lodging, but informs you it is time for him to move on to other clientele, expecting him in the far capital of Drusar, across the Rumadan Desert, and the Serpent Wind peaks to the north in the far northern reaches of the Aldrin wilds of Marquette. As a parting gift, to thank you for your patronage, the Mantis Man leaves you with a bottle of his famous mustache oil and a curious pamphlet. I did ping this in general chat, but in case you ever need it again, I did make a little PDF of it for you to browse, even in Roll20, should you want to. But it is pinned in general. This peculiar pamphlet features a sort of guide of the city and a brochure form for the likes of you, explorers, tourists, and such. That sort of highlights some points of interest might have already visited or didn't get to visit yet. I'm sure some of you got to browse that over the week, but if not, I'll put it right there under Chapter 4, the Jewel of Hope, as a handout. Other than that, take it away.
DM, I would like to pull what's known as a Trent and actually make this NPC come with us to the end game.
Convince him.
I'm just kidding.
Recalling
Sorry.
the events of last session, convince him.
No, it's fine. I don't want to.
All right.
I thought it was funny, but
it is funny.
me.
I just have PTSD from
you're
that session,
laughing.
so
Rashid, you will do as you're told.
for context, for people who were not there, he's talking about a one-shot where they convinced an NPC that life is a video game and the murders he was committing were just points, and they just gave him a gun and were like, come with us on a quest, and they ended up infiltrating a top organization, and
It was amazing.
It was amazing. I'm just not at all what I planned. But anyways, immersing right back here.
So they did say earlier that Riot and Nia, they were staying out by the tree. So I think it's just us three, me, Zeno, and Julian, that stayed in the cabin or in the inn.
We can do that. I just imagine the party would want to get together eventually. But if
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll say we went and grabbed them and came back.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with like Riot and I, if Riot's good with that, saying that like we packed up, like with the sunrise, we packed up and made our way to have breakfast with the gang.
Breakfast with the gang.
breakfast with the boys. With the boys
and girls.
and the
Sunny Philadelphia
girls.
music. The gang gets breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh shit, I'm blanking. Oh, sorry. While coming down the stairs and, sitting in her seat, adjusting everything, just tidying up a couple things, putting her wand away, making sure it's snug. She kind of puts her hands on the table, like palms down, and sort of leans in a little bit and says, I actually got a message early this morning. Or excuse me, did that message come last night or this morning?
It came this morning.
Okay.
It was like literally the
Then-
last thing that happened last session.
Right. Just wanted to make sure.
You felt like a vibration in your old pocket, just as a reminder for people, and heard like a muffled woman's voice call out, this is Curator Sura Silmaris. Still interested in joining the Cobalt Soul? Meet me at the Temple of the Mentor. I have a mission for you. It was a very brief message. Yes.
Someone of our past, Sora, reached out to us last night. She lives. The library was able to revive her and resurrect her. She called for us to meet her at the Temple of the Mentor. Yeah, Temple of the Mentor. And I think that would be very fruitful for us to go check in with her, get some nice ties, and maybe kind of round out her day. But maybe we should go to the Temple of the Raven Queen first and tie up what we found out last night. What about the rest of you? After breakfast, of course.
I do think perhaps if she has a mission for us, then rather than being a hindrance, we probably should go to the matron in her temple just to see if they can assist with the small hiccup we might have.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think that we need to separate Riot
Motherfucker.
from his addiction. So I'm all for
not comfortable
going
with that
to
sentence.
Well, I mean, what is it? Is it not? Explain
Yeah.
to me what else it is.
It's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what it is. So I'm not saying it's Riot's own fault. Just it's a desire that we need to help Riot through.
Indeed. We don't know when the next assassination attempt is going to be, and if this curse could be a hindrance in fights, then yeah, that's probably the first thing we want to deal with.
Well, it's only a hindrance if I'm turned against you, or if you guys hit me. I mean, that's the only reason.
Yeah,
So,
all
I
things
mean,
we
it's-
can dance around. So
Not just for us, but it's also for the innocent people around us, though, too. And it's also good presentation for the Allegiance, for the Cobalt, anybody else. we might be seen as a liability. So it might be best to clear this up before.
Well, also, if we go to a place where they are supposed to take our weapons, I might try to attack them. So it could be a downright brawl wherever I go, depending on if they try to remove any of the weapons.
Fair
There
enough.
are countermeasures in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
That's good.
So, looking around the room, seems pretty normal. Who's this guy? He's wearing red. Is he Vermilion?
You don't know.
Does he look like he's wearing crimson robes?
She seems to be wearing a
Oh,
worker's band around her brow, high collared. I wouldn't call it like noble's clothes because everybody here is dressed in more than just drab garb and linens, but certainly high fashioned.
Right. She's cool. She checks out then.
Like that orange reddish color to her clothes, but I mean, she doesn't like openly carry ruidium on her person or anything. So she seems to be like sort of going through like a coin pouch, sort of dividing what looks to be like a day's work worth of pay.
Okay. Who's the? Can you blow this icon up down here?
Sure.
The token.
Yeah. You see a blonde
fuck.
mustache
What's up,
gentleman.
Chad?
If I couldn't speak of the other one wearing noble's clothes, this one is definitely a posh gentleman who seems to be chilling here in his bathrobe-looking top that sort of is tied with this shimmering satin belt. Seems to be enjoying a large cup of this black sand coffee, and in the midst of writing into some sort of a book with a colorful parrot's quill in his hand.
Is black sand what the coffee's actually called, or were you describing?
Black sand coffee is a Marquesian delight. Coffee brewed not on fire or a campfire, but on hot coals immersed in sand. Hence the name. Gives it. Have you ever had like IRL Turkish coffee? It is rich, it is bold, and it will give you a kick. It is delicious.
It's really good.
Can I get that with my breakfast?
Sure. Assuming you spend a coin for it, yeah, it's like 3 copper pieces easy. The taste
On that, I want to try it.
Yeah, the aroma already kind of sort of lingers throughout this room, along with the fusaka spice and such. Usually the way it is consumed is you take a cube of sugar and you place it between your teeth, and you take the cup and you literally pour the coffee like through the cube, and it all melts together into this sweet, hot amalgamation of very bold coffee flavor. It's delicious. It's like drinking candy.
Careful, if you have too many, you'll start vibrating.
Rule for cavity. Julian dies due poor hygiene. I don't know.
This dude's
Nia would while everyone is kind of settling in and eating your breakfast, she'll kind of go over, like sneak over to Melina over here, and while kind of like casually talking to her, she'll kind of like gesture for her to like open the bag of, what did we call it? Bag
of holding.
Bag of holding. So she can slip in the vermilion robe that she made overnight into the bag.
Oh, of course. She has the bag just strung like how you would in school, like a backpack-ish, like on the back of the chair. She'll take one of the straps, turns around, puts it in her lap facing you, and kind of huddles over it and try to give you at least some protection from the 2 on the left.
Yeah. And then just like Nia continues like a casual conversation, like the stars were so nice last night, and Riot, like he made these awesome trees. They're so good. Should have been there. But I understand. Girls gotta have some comforts.
I mean, if there's a bet, I'm gonna take it. It's one of the few that we can have right now. I'm sure the road ahead of us is gonna be long, and if we're going into the ruins, there's not gonna be much. Probably wet. Sorry, Riot.
Fair enough. I'll probably have to make sure I take a bath there before we leave the city again. One last comfort for myself as she goes back to take her seat.
And Yeah, then I'll put the flap over and put it back on my backpack.
Yeah.
Or on the back of the chair.
As you guys make that exchange, Julian, you pay your whole silver there, almost triple the price for this coffee. The innkeep, who you've come to have known over the past, couple days, is this elderly gentleman, sort of dreaded white strands of hair, well-kept mustache and beard, gilded jewelry, painted nails that are also like gilded over, and a curious rune on his forehead. Kind eyes, silver in color. And you never really exchanged names. This gentleman sort of went with your discreet way of conducting business, taking your coin and bringing back service in return. And if there's anything else that you require of him, he's seems to be the only serviceman in this entire establishment.
Okay. Give him a thanks. I'll thank him when the coffee is delivered.
Sure.
Let him keep the change.
Sure. So you guys finished that exchange. Breakfast is done. Where do you wish to head?
Raven Queen.
Yeah, go to the temple.
Of the Raven Queen? Sure. Let's pull out the map here, just for the sake of reference.
I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map.
We are right over yonder.
Wow.
Alrighty. Yeah. The crossings of Eventide are a series of tombs carved into the cliffs that border the guided rather. The cliffs loom over Ankarel, rising over 200 feet high, making it very easy to sort of follow the roads and all the way toward it, into the guided districts and beyond. Let me put a little different ambiance for this place. There we go.
How long does it take to get there?
About 20 minutes.
We can walk and talk, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
As we're traveling there, Julian will say, I have something also that should mention. Last night while I was sleeping, my patron contacted me in a dream. He, seems that in the ruins that we're headed to, there's a creature there a creature of some sort that belongs to him that is being drained of both its strength and sanity by a deep red corruption, and he wanted me to release it. I'm not entirely sure how. He mentioned finding and killing.
You did.
I'm not sure if what he wants me to kill is the creature itself, or maybe if there's something else that's causing this corruption.
Is it common for him to reach out in dreams, not by any other messages or a system of mirrors?
No, it's not common at all for him to reach out at all. This is only the second time it's only the second time he's ever reached out to me. First time being while we were in Betrayer's Rise. That time he didn't even make a. But that time he didn't even make a request.
Right.
Right. The first time he didn't even make a request. He just sort of made me aware.
Okay.
Again, of his presence.
Well, weird, kind of eerie to know, but then again, after being what he is, of knowing about the red substance, I can only assume that he's speaking of ruidium.
Perhaps.
Maybe it's prolonged exposure or something to whatever it is that he's looking for, but did he give any other information about the creature that's down there, or anything else? It could be almost anything, and I would hate to go in guns blazing.
I know it's big, has tentacles. I saw the corruption on it. I'm sure I'd be able to recognize it if we saw it.
Like
I don't
from
know
the dream
exactly
that
what
we
the
had?
creature was. Yeah. Actually, Tom, would I know what this creature is? Did it just look like a giant squid, or?
You glimpsed it. It had a circular maw. Rumi. Let me think about this. Rumi nature check. It had a circular maw, toothy, radial, with these rings of teeth going into its insides. Very squid-like indeed, but instead of two big eyes, it had many, many eyes all over its body. Tentacles sort of in its wake. Just waiting for your nature check there. Just trying to recall if your memory, trying to recall. You're quite confident you've never encountered a creature like this before, but then again, how often have you swam in the depths?
I'm not familiar exactly with what it was. It was some giant tentacle monstrosity of sorts.
Can you share again what your patron asked of you?
He asked me to release it from
Release it.
the corruption that was
Release it.
draining its strength and sanity. What's this big
Sorry.
tree on the map? Sorry, I got distracted.
That is the Alluvium Gardens, or a small
Been here
section of it.
before?
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you describe the creature again? You said it was a radial mouth, tentacles.
So imagine a squid as a sort of base, tentacles in its wake, but it seemed to be wounded and trailing this inky, reddish, almost blood-like trail in its wake. A radial mouth, meaning circular, with circular teeth, like a lamprey, if you will, right? At its front, with a whole bunch of eyes all over its body. At the front, at the back, all over its body. Slitted, the black slit eye on this orange sort of iris background that almost caught light of the depths now and then and sort of glinted off. But then again, from the way Julian describes it, he only glimpsed it for a very brief moment. These dreams, have you ever woken up having witnessed a dream and the more you're trying to recall it, the more it escapes you? So the details are becoming a little fuzzy there.
Okay.
Yes.
Tremors.
The very first time he witnessed such a creature, his psyche compared to a roper, because that was the most relevant recent experience that he could align it to.
We must find the Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't suppose, you, based off the little information we have, if that rings any bells, or if you have killed anything like that.
Yeah, based off of that description, sort of squid-like, many eyes, radial mouth, and teeth, produces ink. Good. What can I recall?
Sort of sounds like a kraken. Or some other behemoth of the depths.
Well, we do have the library at our disposal. I'm sure there may contain some sort of bestiary of famous monster hunters or something of the depths or I don't know. I guess we can look at it when we go over to speak to Sora. I'm sure there's a lot that we can find up there.
Well, Julian, I appreciate you sharing that. Given everything that's led up to this point, I know that you've been hesitant to share information about your patron, but just know that I appreciate you sharing that. It does instill some trust between us.
I trust you guys. I'm hesitant to share it with other strangers. I trust you guys.
I definitely wouldn't be telling people that we may even know someone who has ties to an illithid, though. That still sounds far-fetched to most people.
I'm also curious, Julian. You did share your reasons for your course of life. Are you looking to continue to pursue with this patron? Are you looking to break your bond with this enslaver? I'm just curious where you see yourself go.
Not at the moment, at least. No. I don't feel any reason to.
No worries, I'm not pressuring you. Just curious where
Did I miss something?
your head's at.
Did you share like your origin, why you made the bond in the first place, or something?
Yeah.
Shame I missed it.
Very selfish reasons. But yeah, I shared it. Back when we were in Betrayer's Rise. We had campfire time.
Yeah.
As I recall,
It's an RP chat.
yeah, well, I mean, here now. As I recall, Julian, you had shared that you were looking to hone your skills for the myriad, whether it be thieving or burglary, and so you sought this patron to give yourself more abilities. Is that spot on?
Yeah.
Am I missing anything there?
It's about correct. Yeah, I felt that to be more efficient in my job, I wanted to have a little bit of magical prowess, not be limited to my physical capabilities.
I'm just curious, you made no link or mention because it's not relevant, because it has nothing to do with your family, right?
No, nothing to my family.
Okay, cool. You guys are walking and talking, discussing all this sort of helps you sort of align your compass ahead of you. As you're walking into the guiding district, you pass by the winding gates. You see a small squad of guards keep watch over a man in their number who appears to be sitting down in like this meditative position, eyes open wide, cast skyward. Riot, especially, you notice this. Looking at his eyes, this man's eyes, you note the eagle-like quality of the iris and pupil, like just a circular pupil in the middle of this like stark yellow eye, clearly shifted by means of some magic, along the maybe druidic kind or something to do with animal attunement. And then you overhear a conversation, all of you overhear a conversation between the three other hand of Ord guards on the street nearby. It always gives me the creeps whenever we're out here and he has to attune to his familiar. Oh, looking like that. Look at him. Doesn't even blink. An eye in the sky saves us all time during patrols. It means that we have to, if it means that we have to guard Eric, then while he does this thing, then I'll take that trade. Yeah. Hey, did you pass by the Ridge District this morning? No, why? I'm telling you, this year's tournament challengers are in for something special. You should have seen the size of the beast they've been bringing in from ship. Must have taken up the entire ship's cargo space. They had to haul the thing out of the cage with 24 camels. It's one of those Grahasian specimens, Lord Coulter has been, raving all about them. Nice. My money is on Marinus. If anybody can wrestle a sandworm, it's that old bull. Only a madman would... Only a madman would risk their lives in that for that damn accolade. Where do you figure they're keeping the behemoth? If I had to guess, below the palace in the catacombs. I heard the cage it up in the Bowl of Judgment for all to see. And, intimidate the riffraffs and sort of filter out the weak among the participants. Oh, I know where I'm stopping for lunch then. I'm taking a glance at the damn beast myself. See to it that you don't become lunch yourself. And sort of conversation that keeps on going in that sort of air as you pass them by.
When they were making note of a guy called Eric that was doing the attuning with his familiar.
Yes.
Which one of that is of the three that we see there? Is it the bird one?
No, it seems to be a human. By the looks of it, everything about him is just dressed in these druidic rags. Eyes cast skyward, and there's just shifted into this eagle vision. Doesn't seem to be minding his surrounding at the moment, just sitting in his meditative position.
Riot would tell everybody 1 second, and he'd walk over to the Eric who's sitting there looking skyward, and kind of kneel down across from him and tilt his head a little bit, looking at the other guards. I'm assuming they're probably watching me.
Eric.
Okay.
Just eyes shifted at the moment, but yes.
I'm assuming the other guards are watching me. Riot will bow his head and give a little nod. Hello. If you're able to hear me, I have a couple questions for you, if you don't mind.
Oh, what you doing there? Leave Eric alone. Come on, step aside.
Right, we'll look up at the person and be like, "Can I talk to him? Is there a way for me to talk to him?"
No, I can't hear you right now. Fucking tourists. Come on, step away from the guy. Don't make our job any harder. You can already see their hands are on their weapons. Don't make our job any harder. Come on.
Right, we'll step back. Where does Eric hang out when he's not on duty?
Who are you?
I am a druid that just came to the town, and I'm looking for another druid to talk to.
Oh, well, I mean, you'll be looking for the Alluvium de Gardens, probably, the Dreaming Wood.
That's where he normally is?
I'm not telling you where my friend lives. But if you're looking for a druid glade, I mean, you'll find it just north of the River District.
Okay. Right, are you looking at this, Eric? Like...
He's like...
Oh, yeah.
He's like sitting right beside him, yeah.
Well,
you know...
I would nudge Riot. The proof that you're a druid. Perhaps you'll get his attention.
Riot. Okay, sure. Riot will close his eyes, and he will wild shape into the dragon form. And slowly, the people in front would see stars of celestial stars come over his form and take a form of a dragon, and his fur starts to sparkle as well, and he would just look up at them with his eyes slightly, just a little bit brighter, smiling. I'm just here to try to make some friends. I haven't met any druids in feels like a very long time, and I have questions, and I need help.
One or more gentler of the guards, this woman in a gilded headdress, and you can see while the rest of them are sort of have their hands on their weapons, her hands are not on her side whip. That she approaches you and calmly, understandably explains to you, druids are aloof, and tend to be more secluded, so she seems to project that understanding towards you. Maybe you don't know the ways of a city, and a tourist approaching, castle guards, you're just ignorant of the ways, so she patiently explains to you, north of the River District, right over yonder, there's a glade, one of the only places with trees that feed off the River District's waters. And within that glade, the Alluvium Gardens, is a place called Dreamwood, where various druidic circles come together, conglomerate, and commune with nature, train, and such. Adding on top of that information that you're seeking, she explains that these guards are doing their job. Currently, Eric, the one who's communing with his familiar, is doing some aerial rounds, so disturbing the guard, she patiently explains, is sort of getting in the way of them fulfilling their duty, and is not exactly within the bounds of law. But she takes the time to explain it to you. Is there any other information? Yeah.
No, Riot in turn will just smile and say thank you and pull out a handful of good berries and be like, "I made these last night. Would you like a good berry?" They're very fruity. They're glistening with starlight. They're deep purple and they're very sweet. It will satisfy you for the whole day.
The woman looks down at your paws where the berries are, and then turns toward the. You mentioned like the Arakokra, the eagle-like person, and just gives you like a very knowing, slow nod, as if to say like they're fine, and she picks up. Thank you. This is nice. After a long shift, you want some? And she just sort of splits it among her group. And they take off their hands off the weapons and seem more at ease with you around. But nonetheless, just out of a sign of like sort of mutual respect for the guard, it's probably best you keep your distance, sort of like approaching the Queen's Garden in the UK sort of thing, deal.
Oh yeah, Riot didn't know any better, so he has to learn.
Yeah. But she gladly takes your berries.
Is there something on their outfit that identifies them as guards?
The same sort of uniform, maybe a little bit more ornament among them. There seems to be a specialized squadron maybe for this district. You see different symbology. The theme of their armor is that of brass, gold, maybe some like that deep red metallic color. A lot of them are bearing armor shaped like frilled wings, like that of a bat or some other creature, that sort of expand from the chest outwards toward the shoulders. Some of them are wearing helms that are, feathered by what looks to be like hawk feathers that have been dyed red. The Arcanist, who's sitting on the ground, this Eric, seems to be ornamented with gilded eagle-like helm, this centerpiece that bears a blue gem that glows with arcana energy, and above his head is this like half crescent that levitates another gem of similar color above his head. But uniformly, they all identify as the Hands of Ord through this sort of frilled wing armor that you've seen other guards wear.
Okay.
Since you guys were, I didn't mean to eavesdrop or anything, but we actually saw that airship come in last night, and we heard that you were talking about the giant sandworm. You said you were placing bets on the old bull. Who's that exactly?
Oh, that's Marinus. He's one of the Scar Bearers, a local favorite. Marinus? Sure. And Riot is the name you actually heard before. Marinus?
And Murshid.
Hmm? Yes.
Murshid.
Yes.
Tattoo artist.
Oh, okay, I was wrong.
Scar Bearer, local crowd favorite, if you will. Somewhat of the second-hand leader of them all.
We're new into town, so apologies, we haven't heard that name before, or at least I haven't. What's his, does he have something that he specializes in? Something that makes him so grand?
He puts on a show, and, it's been not winning straight year after year, but I think he has collected a good collection of 6-7 accolades over the past century. He's a fighter, and it shows.
How old is this guy?
And race.
Minotaur.
Or Minotaur.
I'm not sure how old he is. I mean, it's been around for 25 years. So a bit older than that.
And they said they used a second or something?
Like the, not the boatsman. What's the second command equivalent? He's the second command in the Scar Bears.
He's first mate.
Yeah. If this was a ship, yes. Second command is what I'm trying to say.
What I was kind of looking for when I asked, like, what makes him so grand, does he have, like, a certain fighting style that is he, like, magical? Is he just, like, brute strength?
Well, he started out with brute strength, fisticuffs, and like any other gladiator, earning his way up the weapon artistry. Really puts on a show with his 2 axes. These, the way he explains them, it's very like a yin and yang sort of enchanted axes, one of fire, one of ice that he sort of wields. But being a Minotaur, sometimes in order to put on a good show or just giving into his rage, he'll put those fuckers down and he'll just go charging in, goring things with his horns. Sounds very like barbarian gladiator like type.
Yeah.
But for more professional, mercenary work that the Scar Bearers are known for, he specializes in 2x fighting, using them sort of parry and attack.
Does he have like a team that he works with, or does he always fight alone?
I mean, he's Kruglyn's second hand, so practically his bodyguard. Kruglyn being the Goliath leader of the Scar Bearers. And if you, for your name, Quartermaster Kruglyn, here's the name.
Totally misspelled that.
I mean, He
I got the
and,
win part right.
he and the rest of his lackeys tend to be training all the time in that bull of theirs when they're not doing a mission out in the desert or otherwise.
I can't remember if we brought this up before or not, but they get the accolades, but like what exactly was the winning prize? Was it more than just money?
An accolade is 1,000 gold pieces worth. It's literally like a bar.
It's just a nominal thing though.
What do you mean nominal?
It's just if you win the event, it's just money you win. There's no like special
money,
like
honor,
you get a special favor order from the emperor too or something.
You get reputation that if
Right.
you're charismatic enough, you may use in not with I don't know about the emperor. You can certainly try if you can bend it that way, but there's no promise of that. For certainly, it's mostly it's a competition yearly event, very similar to Jigao's deal, right? You get title, you get money, recognition. Certainly, if you're trying to promote yourself amongst factions, that will help you, especially around somebody like the Scarbearers. The more I talk about it, the more it sounds like an adventurers guild or like monster hunters, if you will. I'm sure Will knows what I'm talking about when
I
I'm
know
mentioning.
exactly what you're talking about.
But like they sound like a guild of adventurers. So if you want to earn their respect, participating and winning in these competitions will certainly get you a spot.
I'm sure this has probably happened, unfortunately, but do these events tend to have people die in the process, or is there any countermeasures to this?
Yeah, I mean we try to countermeasure. We have priests on site, but things happen, and people who participate know the risks, same as any other adventurer or warrior out there. It sounds to me like minor injuries or like even major injuries can be remedied by a priest, but if you die, you die. That's part of the competition. Okay. It's part of the Scarbearer's way.
Well, we've already gone up against the Sandworm once. It's the one we fought, remember?
You fought this thing already? And did you... It's alive still?
Yeah, well, I mean, it almost killed one of our friends who ended up dying in Palazan when we first entered, but... I mean...
We made it flee. I'm very
we made
scary.
it run away.
Nia
Definitely
made it
heard
run
it.
away.
So, winning is a bit of a stretch.
It'll be a tough battle, if that's all of us, but like we've heard before, there's only one winner at the end.
By the way, when
We're
you guys
also-
mentioned like, oh yeah, we fought this thing and we totally made it away, like some of the guards like gave each other side eye. One of them actually like scoffs, like yeah, right.
Well, we didn't win. Nia was extra scary whispers, made it run away. Well, distracted it long enough that we could run away. We didn't actually beat it.
Well, to be fair, the creature is blind now.
It is blind now. And again, we didn't do that. That was like freaking Gaz. Names? Bad
Gaz.
names. Gaz. Gaz like went AWOL on it while he was being clenched in his teeth.
Well, it was hunting by sound, so just because it doesn't have its natural eyes doesn't mean it can't find us by other ways.
True.
We'd have to do more than just sitting still, but I guess we can put that together. The game should be in what, roughly 8-9 days?
The game will begin on the 22nd of this month. It is the 9th. So,
11 days.
Yep. 11 days. 13.
So, with this competition, is it only versus Beast? Is it what other competitions are involved? Is it team versus team?
Why don't you go to the bowl and see for yourself who you're fighting against?
Okay.
It's between the beasts, the participants. From the way it sounds, it sort of changes year by year, but a general rule is there's only one victor at the end, and that implies that if multiple participants are in the arena, that eventually they'll have to fight each other.
You said I need to go to the bowl to get more information?
Speak to Sheet Calto or any of the Scarbearers and maybe, get a gauge on your competition. I mean, they've been training for weeks now. Getting a head start.
Speed. said Sheed who?
Sheed Coulter is the ringmaster. It's a name you've heard before from your blood hunter friend back in Bazilzan, but
Typing all this out.
Yep. Sheed Coulter helps run the games. He is, from what you've heard, a noble who cares about his sort of charismatic visage around the city. And he works with the Scarbearers. The bowl acts as the Scarbearers' sort of base of operations and training ground. And Sheed Coulter runs these games along other competitions. You asked before, I think, and I answered that this is not the only event that happens in the bowl. Sometimes people will challenge each other to one-on-one duels and stuff. It's sort of not a trial by combat, but a sort of resolve an argument by combat, if you will.
So a duel.
A duel, yeah.
Well, we're most excited to see what happens and possibly enter, so maybe we'll see you there.
Yeah, the god who mentioned he is going to be there to watch the worm, and just nods in recognition, maybe I'll see you there. But the guided district awaits if you're ready to keep on walking. Won't hold ya. Where are we at? We are at the crossings of Eventide. Sure, let's do this. So, the crossings of Eventide. As you approach closer, you make out upon those distant cliffs reliefs carved into the stone that depict the most important deeds of the various tomb occupants. These features adorn the spaces between stone slabs that seal the grave. You see these braziers filled with bluish yellow crystals here and there that you would imagine at the hours of dusk and sunset. These crystal braziers that hang throughout the necropolis would probably catch the fading light and paint a nearby cliffside in these vibrant hues of pink, orange, and purple. At the base of the cliff rests a small temple dedicated to the Nation of Death, as I put us on the map. This is the crossings of Eventide. One by one, you guys are down here. We have Zeno, Slipping Gnomes rioting with Shimmer in your backpack somewhere. Melina with Kane, Julian, Nia. And Nia, I'm going to put the drift out cloak over here for you because I imagine you want to use it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, take it away.
Right, we'll slowly approach the doors.
Mm-hmm.
Peer on in.
The interior of the temple is carved from black marble and reflects shards of colorful light that filter in from stained glass windows that arc overhead.
We'll
Mhm.
peer in and take a couple steps in. He's gonna look immediately to his right and left. Are those statues or people?
They're people. Statue-like people, eerily motionless, but then slowly turning their heads to face you. You see several of these temple keepers wearing white porcelain masks, adorned in lengthy black robes that skulk the dark corners of the temple. And it is eerily silent here. Your personal experience with the clergy of the Raven Queen is limited to a few sightings. The Dusk Maven's flock seldom leave their temples, save for times of great plague, war, or famine. The flock has a mixed reputation, with some citizens seeing their presence as a warning to leave the area or that death is near. Some claim the clergy charge the sick and dying additional fees for special treatment or false cures, but you're left to make your own judgment. You know from your experience in Port Damali that others might claim that the flock rarely cures patients, but rather serve to record death tolls and record the number of infected people for sort of demographic purposes. Whether the claims of the living ring true or not, one thing is for certain. This is a place of death, of the inevitable passage of time and the twilight transition, presided over by embalmers and last rites. From the dimly lit depths of the necropolis, a figure emerges. You're all approached by a female elf, cleric of the Dusk Maven. Her features are half veiled behind a beaked mask. She wears this lithe dress that cascades down into like a bell and drags across the ground, and hanging from her neck is a holy symbol. Depicts a keen-eyed vulture with like a golden funerary mask and feathers whose colors range from sunset hues to midnight black. Her long black hair is kept in an intricately twisted decorative loop. She doesn't say a word, but extends her palm towards you in a gesture of greeting that suggests inquiry to the nature of your arrival here. What do you do?
Riot will step forward towards her and very slowly will pick up his blade and his other hand's up, showing he's not going to do any harm. I come here in seeking of aid. There is a soul trapped in this blade. A soul of pain, soul of sadness, and a soul of revenge. This soul has found itself to me, and I wish to release it from its pain. I ask for the help of the Dusk Maven, and I ask for your guidance to assist me in helping restore her to a place where she belongs.
As you explain yourself, you see the elven cleric extend out a hand to hover over the blade. Two other figures from either your flank approach closer and do the same similar gesture. You see faint, barely visible ethereal strands rise from the blade toward their hands and weave between their fingers. The fingers unnaturally long, lithe, skinny, and ending in these long black claws that trace along the steel of the blade. From beyond the porcelain mask of one of them, you hear a voice. The creator of gods, the prime gods, the creators of Exandria. When they departed the prime material plane, and the divine gate was created to separate the power from the prime material, for fear of causing another calamity and wiping out mortal existence of this realm. Many of them withdrew, but into the patcher that crafted places like this, crafted realms where their essence can reside, their energy can be harnessed. There, in these little temples, beyond the divine gate, the souls that fall under the spheres of influence come upon to be passed. It is our matron's duty to bequeath upon us the responsibility of ushering the transition. Come, witness. And with that, she ushers you toward the door at the far side of the chamber, past the grand statue of the porcelain-faced lady.
Over here?
On the far side of the room is a set of 3 doors. You can see they're made of this solid black marble, and veins of this reddish ore sort of cascade down them like veins. She offers you... Yeah.
I was gonna say, does she allow everyone or just Riot?
Oh, everyone.
Oh, okay.
She raises her hand, and with an ethereal whisper, the doors one by one open to reveal what's beyond. In the thought chamber, deep within the glyphs lies a room which houses a deep cup pool of what is seemingly blood, surrounded by intricate abstract carvings and serving as a sort of a conduit of communion. Looming above it, all is a masked face carved of white marble. Its smooth feminine features bear down to witness all below it. As you approach the threshold of the door, you sense the mystery of the Raven Queen, this pillar of power of life and death that is both awe-striking and awe-fearing, and for a moment you realize how small you are in her presence. A chill runs down your spine. Your thought, your sensations, you thought you just felt a hand sort of slowly creep up your shoulder. Turning around, though, you see only your party. Drapery upon the black marble stone, ornaments around this pool, and you can see several footprints marked in blood, as if somebody has waded into the pool and has later on waded out of it, just immersed in this blood, and has left a trail of footprints in their wake. What do you do?
Riot will evidently gulp a little bit. His fur will stand on end a little bit as the feeling of a hand was on his shoulder. I'm going to take off my armor so none of that stuff gets on it. So he will remove his armor, he'll remove his bag.
You see two figures approach and be as you undress and take off your things, they sort of help you by taking those things and putting them neatly to either side of the temple.
You still have those gloves I gave you? Want to put those on?
What gloves?
I bought everyone leather gloves back in chairs, back in.
Oh, they're in his bag. They're in his bag.
Just a thought.
Oh no, it's fine. He'll put everything aside, and he'll just be in his furs and undergarments, and holding onto the sword. And he'll look at Naya and be like, "Please clean me off afterwards, please."
She kind of just gives him a small smile and nods.
I sense fear.
I don't like liquid. I don't like being wet.
There are worse things than being wet.
Every time I've gone into something liquid, I've basically died.
Do you fear death?
I feel like there's a chance that I seem to be running towards it all the time.
Quite literally in this sense. And you can hear a bit of mirth in the voice.
There would be a slight look of concern on Riot's face as he steps forward towards the chamber. Slowly walking forward.
Zeno will put his hand on Riot's shoulder. You can do this. I think this is an important moment for you.
You come here You come here asking for the aid of the Matron of Death. But to gain her aid, you must face her in her own realm, beyond the veil of the material. Before you lies one such gate.
Riot will just nod, look over at everybody. Maybe I don't know if you guys want to come in with me or wait out here, but I feel like there's someone guiding me forward.
Divine miracles are meant to be witnessed.
He'll put his hand on his own shoulder where he felt the hand, and then he would walk forward to the pool and stop at the edge for a moment, and just take in the sight of everything.
Gilmore ask, what are these? Sorry. What are these pools of red liquid?
You look at it, bubbling slightly from the bottom. It's blood. A place of communion, as they described it. You can see, approaching the sort of edge of the pool, there are actual like brass ladders leading down toward the depths of the pool, but because it's viscous blood, you don't see a bottom. It sort of fades down these stone steps, but there's no apparent final depth. As you enter the chambers, two of the Hierophants enter with you,
Chill.
and the elven Hierophant in your wake, watching silently as you go through the steps of accepting what might just happen.
If this is what it takes to clean or to cleanse yourself of this taint that's within the blade and everything, then this must be the way. There may be other ways too. I've been studying the arcane books, though I don't know if it's possible, but if things are to not go so well for you in there, I can try giving you a hand if needed.
Oh, this is the first step to see. If this doesn't work, then I'll definitely try your path. Wish me luck, as he says, slightly nervously, staring at a pool of blood. But he will take the blade in front of him and, in kind of an offering manner, hold it in front of him as he would slowly wade into the pool.
As you immerse yourself in the viscous, lukewarm pool of crimson, it takes every part of your being to resist your instinct to pull back. The pool deepens until you find yourself chest deep in blood. All that remains now is the plunge.
Right, we'll take a breath and go under.
Immersing, all grows quiet, dark. You're holding your breath, waiting for something. The blade in your hand, quiet, dark all around you. In this suspense, you begin to lose a sense of what's beneath your feet, what's above you. You're still holding your breath, and you're about to run out of it. Make me a wisdom check.
Wisdom save or wisdom check?
This is a wisdom check. Now, you make me a wisdom check and add me your religion proficiency bonus to it, if you're proficient in religion.
No, I'm not.
Then
So I'll just do a straight roll.
straight roll, unfortunately.
Add my modifier or no?
Yes, your wisdom modifier.
Oh shit, 8.
8?
8. I rolled a 4 plus 4.
You're running out of breath and you're choking. And instinctually fighting the sensation of wet. This is unpleasant in so many ways. Your body grosses itself out and like gulps some of it, and you can sense the taste of iron in your mouth. A thought comes to you as your party watches the bubbles stop. Death is final. The ultimate terminal. Your body refuses to let go, and struggling to cling on to life, you panic. Do you swim back up?
No, he tries to stay down. He tries to focus. He tries to realize why he's doing it. He thinks back to the words of the man behind the raven mast, as the only way through is to let go. So he will let his breath out with a shivering fear through his body, wondering if this will be his final breath, but he will let it out, and he will let himself drift.
Roll me a death roll.
A death roll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As you drop to 0 HP and are drowning.
0. Death save. 8.
8. You open your mouth, and with a final gasp, let in the viscous liquid. In that moment, your brain releases a burst of adrenaline and endorphins trying to fight back. A thought floods your mind. Death is not final. Death is a door, a transition from this existence to the next. You try and fight, still your mind, let your body sink further, deeper. Ever wonder what it's like to drown? Sort of a story of opposites. There's a certain peace now in the blood, like it's holding you, whispering a low tone to let it in, and every problem in the world will simply fade away. But then there's this other part of you, there's this thing in your head, and it's raging, lightning upon every nerve, lighting you with madness, to fight, to survive. And as you're faced with that choice to fight and live, or let all things go and die, you roll me another death saving throw.
That'd be that'd be 12 plus 1, so that'd be a 13.
The rest of the party is witnessing Riot drown.
But how far down is he? You said he's
Yeah,
sank. So is it just bubbles rising? Because we can't see.
There
through
are
that
no
thick
more
liquid.
bubbles. You've watched, it's been maybe 2-3 minutes, and he hasn't come back yet.
But can we? Is it so thick? I imagine we can't really see through it. We
No, it's a
just
pool of
see-
blood. He's fully immersed in it, yeah. There have been some bubbles at first, and you watched the bubbles actively stop, and it's been a minute since then, and he hasn't come back yet.
I feel like I would jump in there. I don't know.
I would turn to one of the acolytes.
Talking, yeah. Well, I would talk to everybody. I wouldn't even talk to them. Feel free to talk to the acolyte, but I'd turn to you guys and be like, I think something's going wrong. I think I should jump in there.
We can't see, right?
No. I think something's wrong. Just I don't see many bubbles coming back up.
I would
Well,
turn to
that's
the
enough.
acolyte.
How do I whisper?
/whisper / whisper space Tom.
I mean, you can
Should
make
just auto-populate.
you can make a setting where you can toggle whispers on top of your sheet.
Oh, you're gonna have to tell me how to do that. I've never done that.
I'll do it. You guys can roleplay. Go for it.
I would turn to one of the acolytes and just kind of be in a more of a stern voice, saying he's not coming up. This seems preposterous that we're gonna let someone die and rid them of a curse this way.
I jump in and I start diving down to get Riot.
Okay.
Sorry. That's how I'd react.
As soon as you jump in, wearing all your clothes, and it's you feel the lukewarm water seep into your clothes, and everything grows absolutely quiet, muted. It is dark. You're swimming forward, trying to grasp to find Riot. Roll me investigation with disadvantage as you're trying to locate a body.
I will do that as soon as I click the right button.
You probably can't smell or anything, so you probably wouldn't have advantage.
I mean, he
Yeah,
can
so
smell
it's
something. Iron, death throughout. You find something. A piece of cloth. You pull toward it. There's more to it. It's heavy, and you pull towards you. It's a body,
Does
but
it?
there's no fur on it. In fact, there's no flesh either. Barely any muscles. You feel bones, slick. There's no ending to the hand of one limb. The bones only held together by the clothes that they're wearing, by the clad armor. There's no head. You're just going by sense by finger touch here. Yeah.
Yeah, I would let it go and keep searching.
You keep on searching. Riot, you're whispering me. Roll me another death saving throw as the search continues and the rest of the party does what?
Looking through my repertoire of spells. I mean, sorry.
Fuck it. I think after, like, I see that Zeno is struggling. Julian's gonna jump in as well. Start looking. My brand new cloak.
Zeno, you are at this point maybe a minute and a half underwater, still holding your breath but running out of breath, and you're still having luck finding Riot's body in this viscous blood. The expanse seems oddly vast. There is no bottom to this, you realize. You're diving deeper and you can already feel the pressure pressing at your ears, and it's dark, and you're running out of breath. You are faced with the same choice of rising back for breath or keeping looking.
What happens if I were to put on the hood of the manta cloak?
You put on the hood, and though it is unpleasant, you test out the same way that you were underwater before.
Mm-hmm.
This is not water. You lose some of your breath, choking out the iron-like
Choking
taste.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
you cannot breathe
Alright.
this.
Right.
But you gain the swim speed. You can't breathe underwater.
I would leave it on. Choking
Okay.
on the blood a bit. I'd leave it on just for the swim speed.
Okay.
and
You
look at my
continue.
search.
You feel movement sort of dive behind you as somebody dives in. Julian, you roll me the same sort of investigation with disadvantage here. Riot.
Can I
Yeah, for
could
sure.
I like search a wider area since Julian can swim faster?
You can search. You can. Yeah, definitely do that. Roll me investigation with disadvantage. Riot. It's been
hang on.
5 minutes. You're not quite
I'm gonna use a psionic die here.
sure. Use a psionic die.
13.
Riot. With a final instinctual gasp for air that doesn't come, your lungs burn as they are filled with brine. Then your heart stops. You sleep. You die. No more. In that nothing, without sense of body, only the self remaining, you're suspended in the ether, dreaming, lucid, both present and reduced to nothing more than a mote of what you once were. Now and then you think you glimpse a memory from your past life or from the current presence, your friends looking for you, merely inches away from your body but lost in the viscosity of this ethereal plane. You, on the other hand, witness these little flashes of memory, these last firing neurons in your brain, these little flicking flashes of comfort that slowly fade to black into this realm of nothing you find yourself in. Some time passes this way, you think, before you feel yourself no longer alone. Your perspective comes face to face with this looming entity of shadow and impossible hues, winged like an angel and the face hidden behind a perfectly white mask. There's someone else here, you sense, another soul. You're not sure how, but as if innately, a part of you recognizes it. It's Hesper, the Kryn soldier that fell in Betrayer's Rise and was denied peace in the afterlife. This soul, angry, bound to a weapon, floating just beyond your perspective, just beyond your reach. You try and reach out a hand, but there is no hand to reach for it. It's you, the sword, and this entity before you. Vast, ever-expanding darkness upon the horizon of this ethereal realm with a single womanly face mask of porcelain before you. What do you do?
I can't reach the sword, but I know it Hesper's in front of me by
You
the sword.
sense innately the soul to be that of Hesper. You can even glimpse little features, elven, Corinne, in that semi-opaque ether. But when you try to reach for a sword to grab onto it like you always do, it's like a phantom sensation. There's no limb to reach out to. There you look. What is to look in this realm? You witness down, and there's no body for yourself. But it is there.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Looks around and then stares up at the mask and ponders for a moment before speaking. You must be the one that I remember hearing stories of as a child. The balance to Melora. I came here in search of you, in search of your aid, and hope to right a wrong that was made done in the past by a demon or a fiend, I don't know what. The same being that I believe killed the soul that was in this blade also took something from me as well. I wish to release Hesper from the trap that she's in, the pain she's in, the sadness, the hopelessness, and the rage that's all-consuming that also consumes my own mind, feeds on my own fears. I want to bring her peace. I want to bring her to sleep. I want her to actually not feel pain any longer. I don't know if this is the way to do it, but I know you're the keeper of souls. So I asked your aid. Can you free her?
The entity looms closer, the neck extending out to bring the mask mere feet away from you. And you hear a voice. Matron-like, womanly, caring, curious. This one's fate was death, and yet I sense it is yet to fulfill its purpose in the realm of the living. From somewhere far, far from here you hear a celestial chiming hum. Somewhere in the distance beyond this realm of nothingness, a star illuminates, pulsing like a heartbeat and radiating out divine geometric shapes that your consciousness interprets to be akin to the symbol of the Luxon beacon, as you've witnessed it in life back in Jigao and in other Drohassian towns. And you watch as the ethereal essence surrounding the weapon begins to draw forth from it and wind like a river toward this distant star. Be at peace, whispers the voice behind the mask. When it's over, the distant star fades back into darkness, and the weapon rests inert before you, no longer haunted by the restless spirit of Hesper. Then the entity turns to you. Communion done, a hand is brought forth from the shadows, and as if to push you back. Back you go out of the ether, feeling yourself being pulled by 4 hands. Slowly, other sensations return. You feel yourself being dragged through cold wetness, and in time, Julian and Zeno, you grasp on to the limp body of a tabaxi at the bottom, and together make for the surface. Gasping for air, you see the body is limp, but the eyes are half open. Though it is a ghastly sight as the body, yours and his, are covered in blood. I imagine you guys are dragging him at this point, sort of together.
Yeah.
Huh.
So towards the shallow end, for sure.
Right. You feel the stone steps beneath you, right? Gliding beneath you. You feel the cold wetness, and in time you lie face up upon a black marble floor, coughing up this blood, breathing once more, gasping for breath, breathing once more in the realm of the living. Your vision sort of focuses from this blur, and it takes you a moment to recognize your surroundings back at the Temple of the Duskmaven, back with your party.
Concerned with all that's happened, Nia will rush towards Riot once he's removed himself from the pool, or as soon as he is removed from the pool, and trying to distinguish between the blood of the pool and if any of it were his, be he injured in all of this experience. He immediately uses her the thing I can't pronounce ever.
Prestidigitation.
Thank you. To remove all of the blood from the pool to see if any new spurts occur, to see if he is injured in any physical way that should be seen.
Only the scars he has earned over the past several days.
Riot will open his eyes and look around almost in a haze. Okay. He looks up at everybody, kind of reaches up and like touches Naya's face a little bit before taking an actual deep breath of air and just coughing up a little more blood before sitting up slowly, very slowly, feeling almost lethargic and tired, exhausted. And he looks down in his hands and he feels the blade. Does he feel anything from it?
Cold steel. It's slick in your grasp because there's still a little bit of blood between your fingers and the hilt and the handle, but, I mean, that raging spirit sensation is gone. Esper's at rest.
From what Riot remembered, she went to the beacon, not the afterlife, correct?
To a beacon, yes.
Riot smiles to himself. And everybody would be able to see it. She is in the pool. The Duskmaven was. She put Hesper's soul to rest. But instead of taking it to the afterlife, she put it back in the cycle. She has a connection to the Luxon beacon and put Hesper back into it.
Away from here.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it. I was floating and I saw a white mask of the Duskmaven and the soul of Hesper get taken to a beacon. I don't know how. I don't understand. She's no longer in the sword.
This is not the first time that we hear of this distant star.
Nia would kind of just take a double take after what Riot had said, and said a Luxon beacon. There hasn't been one discovered in this area or anywhere near here. How could that be?
I don't know. I don't know if it was one close by or one from afar. It was a white glimmer far away in deep darkness of the space I was in, and I saw her soul drift to it. If there is one over here, then it is far away. I don't know how to explain where it might be. but there is one around, or she has connection to it.
Well, this is the Raven Queen. I'm not surprised that's not beyond her ability.
I feel like you drank probably too much blood in the pool. This is already barbaric, letting people come in here, body sift in the pool.
Do not
Seems like
speak
you're stating on
heresy
that.
in the House of Duskmaven.
Nia would kind of just be kind of like taken aback at hearing the news of a beacon in a continent that is not known to have any beacons, and kind of just sits back on her heels, kind of just absorbing this information.
Why would this continent not have beacons?
Is it?
We're not in Zoras anymore.
Yeah, we're not in Zorhas.
Why would beacons be contained only in Zoras?
Would Nia be able to know whether or not there are known locations of beacons on this continent in her upbringing and whatnot? Would she know that?
You are correct to say that a beacon. Well, until very recently, the Kryn dynasty has not led expeditions to Marquette in search of these beacons. So none were found. That is not to say that they cannot be found. After all, creation myth-wise, when the Luxon has split itself apart, it has spread itself all over Exandria. Luxon beacons have been found in Tal'Dorei, in Ilcyria, in Wildmount. It is just simply a matter of agents of the Luxon to find said beacons. But of course, have you ever conducted research into that? Or is that something that's worth looking into?
Definitely something to look into. It just not necessarily that she was that wasn't her research specialty, but it definitely is something of interest of her. Just
Put it on your to-do
kind of like
list.
relinking back to just her upbringing.
Yeah.
And even though she had turned away from the Luxon for the seeking of greater knowledge, it's kind of like a comboed effect to her. So this would be almost like double jeopardy for her. She'd be like, yes, both passions in one.
You're not the first one to witness this distant star and the ushering of a soul into it. A month ago, a drow woman named Awu arrived here in Ankarel from Rosona, sent here as an emissary on a mission to establish a skyport between Ankarel and Rosona in order to extend the Kryn dynasty's search for these stars. It is likely she's still here in Ankarel, likely living in the Sun Herald district. She was one of two to look for these stars.
What was her name?
He was Alari. I'll put in chat.
If there were beacons here, wouldn't we know that people were consecuted here over just the course of time?
Who's we?
Everyone. Like, wouldn't we know? Like, wouldn't people know?
It's possible. We can only go by what you know, having arrived from Marquette 3 days ago.
Right, more importantly, are you okay? When we grabbed you, you were...
I just want to make sure I answered your question, Nick. Sorry, before we move on.
Sorry.
So we know beacons are in Zorha, so then people over the course of like centuries have been
Because
thousands of years.
because the Kryn dynasty
Yeah.
has found them and has, like, they have an entire society, it's centric around them. There is no such society here yet because this is all, like, you know, a developing religion, right?
Yeah, but like if the beacon's like an actual physical thing, if it's like buried or something in Ankarel, wouldn't it just naturally do the same thing, like as in just reconsecute people, and then the people of Ankarel would be consecuted, and then, you know, over thousands of years of trading over ports and everything, wouldn't they know? Be like, oh yeah, you guys are being consecuted too. Like, same with us in Zorhaus. Like,
Why
cool.
would they know they're being consecuted? They might have weird dreams of past lives that they can't explain, but nobody to guide them on those dreams, right? They don't have the Kryn to guide them. They don't have the society, but there might be a few chosen here, if this is true, that have these past lives they remember, but no way of sort of explaining that away, because there's the Kryn are not here, if that is the case. And again, this is all very good questions that you could research into, look into. The flock, the people of Ankarel, the flock who's before you, are speaking to you of people who have come here looking for beacons, of their interpretation of this. And speaking of one of two of these people who have come talking of these distant stars.
Go ahead, Julian.
Okay.
Right, are you sure you're okay? When we grabbed you, you were limp. I feared the worst for a moment until you started coughing.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, sorry. No, I went upstairs. Wife just got home. Riot will look up at Julian, and I feel tired, and I feel very weak. You would see Riot would lift up his arm and kind of like flex in the hand you're holding, Julian. And you would feel his lack of strength through his entire body. Like he's been sapped of all energy. And you'd almost see, like, in his cat eyes, like, you know, when you stay up really late and you're exhausted next morning, with like red lines to the center of your pupil, almost bloodshot.
Do you think you'll recover? Sorry.
I think I will. I don't know if we go on a mission. I don't know if I'd be able to go right now. I don't feel 100%. I think we would have to rest. At least for me.
I'm sure the library might have some resting quarters if you want to get a couple hours of shut-eye or whatever you might need. The rest of us can see what Zora might want, and we can tackle whatever at another time.
There's some things I do need to look at and see if the library can help me with, if it's possible. But even if there's a time for a short rest, it would do me some good at least.
Well, the library's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's pretty founded there, but we'll take the time that we need to recover.
Ryan just bobs his head up and down.
Perhaps we should. Nia kind of puts her, like, comes back to attention after trying to absorb the information about the Luxon of hearing this for the first time for her, of a potential presence or knowledge of presence of it in another continent. And kind of like puts her hand on Riot. It's just like, perhaps it might help you recover a bit if we go outside and get out of the dark.
Yeah,
You guys
getting out of
might
here might be
find
best.
you guys might find fear in here. But when I slipped to the other side, all I felt was peace. Like everything was all right. I understand why people might fear the flock and perhaps how they worship, but there is peace through it. That much I can say for this place. It is not a place of darkness. It is a place where one can I don't have the words to it currently because I don't know if what I actually went through was real, but at the same time, I know Hesper's gone, so it has to be real, right? I don't know if the flock would say anything to that or not.
The flock would undoubtedly believe that what you just witnessed is real, something that they perform on a daily basis. That gods are indisputable in the world they live in, and what you just witnessed is true communion. To doubt it goes against every layer of their being and their purpose here. So,
As much as this is darkness, it is not darkness. But we can go outside. Right, we'll just look at the two next to him and just say thank you, and then look at the one with the golden mask and just bow his head. And if I find any that are in need of aid, I will send them your way.
aid?
Thank you. Need to find peace for ones they might love, or those that are troubled, locked with another soul, perhaps like I was. To help find peace, I will send them your way.
Fair. Be at peace. Take pleasure in what little time you have remaining on this plane. This life before the next.
I will nod, and then he'll bow his head and move past to get his stuff, adorn his armor once more and his gear, and then move out with the rest of the group.
Where to?
Cobalt Soul, I think, was the next destination.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. The Cobalt Soul. You venture out of the temple, following the cliffside toward the southern end of the Gata district. A ceramic mosaic of 3 open eyes, framed in cobalt blue, crowns the entrance of the Temple of the Mentor. Dedicated to Ayun, the temple is more than a library, more than a hall of worship. It doubles as the base of operations for the Marquesian branch of the Library of the Cobalt Soul Reserve. As I put us on the map here, giving you a brief glance of this place. Nia, Julian, Melina, Riot, Zeno. As you begin to make your way up the stairs and sides, past the threshold, you see shelves in the walls of the library's sanctuary, all filled near to the capacity with meticulously catalogued tomes, scrolls, and periodicals that are available for public inspection. You note the bright marble stairs leading down from the sanctuary to what you, Melina and Nia, would know is a private sanctuary opened with a key held only by select individuals of the Cobalt Soul High Curators. Behind this door is the Cobalt Soul's vast subterranean archive containing all sorts of esoteric knowledge that is purposefully kept away from the public. As the party ventures in, you see an elvish monk in blue-white vestments greets you and ushers you to follow them as they show you the stairs leading up to the second floor of this building, leading up to the resident apartments, the scriptorium beyond, and such. The layout of the building is very much similar to the one at home, Melina and Nia. Where do you head?
Well, now, just walking up and seeing like its grand, presence and archives. There's this like, sort of, I guess, like as a pseudo temple for Ayun, like with her knowledge and everything, the
Not
bright
just
blue
pseudo.
colors. Yeah. Melina would just make just a remark saying like, now this is actually something that I can believe in. The knowledge of Ayun, the knowing mistress, not something that we have to kill ourselves over. Melina did not like the Raven Queen Temple very much. So, just point that out. But you said this is an actual monk right here, or you said it was a statue?
It's an actual living elven monastic member of this clergy who awaits people coming in and recognizing your robes, your attire, the medallion worn on Nia's chest, sort of ushers you toward the stairs beyond that lead upwards to the scriptorium and what you would recognize as like the upper apartments and such. Depending this where you're going, he greets you. Should you require any aid in navigating around, he's here to help. Otherwise, map is yours.
You can spend an entire lifetime going through all these books and never even read them all.
Agreed.
So where do we go to find Sura?
I'm sure she's awaiting us, and we'll head upstairs.
You can find the High Curator up on the 3rd floor.
Oh, why, thank you. I guess we'll make our way up to the 3rd floor.
Okay. Everybody just like gonna spear pointed there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easier to go right to her.
Another story up, you enter the quarters of the Cobalt Souls higher ranking members. As I will go ahead and bunch you guys up and just give you like a glance of the map, that way you get a sense of where you're at. This will be another floor up. So up the stairs, entering, say from the right side of the stairs would be... Big map, a lot of happening. Up the stairs you go. Oh, actually it'll be like over yonder. So up the stairs will be here. That makes a lot more sense. As you enter the scriptorium, you can see paper presses, smell of papyrus and paper on the air. It is vast. You see hallways leading to study apartments and such throughout. This is the 2nd floor. As you take a brief glimpse around, I'll go ahead and put you guys on the 3rd floor. Just so you get a layout of this place, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very pretty.
And then taking the stairs up. Another story up, you enter the quarters of the Cobalt Souls higher ranking members. The entire expanse is lit by continual flame spell, and a large martial arts training stage dominates the center chamber here. As you make your way, you see a set of doors that are leading to what you would recognize, Nia and Melina, to be the chambers of the High Curator. Just over yonder. Okay, so now that you've got a sort of a layout of this place, we can go to the theater of the mind if you guys don't mind. Yeah?
Sure. Yeah, it don't matter. I mean,
What's up?
I was gonna say, if they're in the middle of like a spar or anything, and
They
because
are.
we know Wadjet, I mean, I wouldn't mind just like saying, calling out and just kind of seeing how their spar would end, rather than just walking through the place.
You said calling out?
Just like, calling out to her, just saying, glad to see you're in fighting spirits, and then as they're exchanging blows, and then kind of just take a seat and
Watch just looks
watch
over
to
her
see the
shoulder
victor.
toward where you're sitting down, and without even looking at the little student she has in front of her, she's like blocking with one hand, just like the double fisted hits, and she just like nods to where you're like, yeah,
Kick her ass, Seabass.
yeah.
Who's she fighting?
It's this neophyte looking agent, human, female, brown hair, sort of locks on both sides, hood up, hands wrapped up in this like white dirty bandages that have like blood on the knuckles, and I mean you don't know who, just seems to be like a new recruit, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to know who it was.
Yeah, from the vestments you can tell it's somebody who recently joined. Watching them spar, eventually, do you wish to make your way onward through to Sura, or I'm not rushing you. I just want to know what your interaction here is.
Oh, he's arching me. Just kidding. No, we'll just go through to Sura then.
Okay. Just gonna put us
Won't
in
keep her waiting.
theater of the mind here for a moment. You are led, eventually, through the set of doors, and before you is Sura Silmaris, this sardonic half-orc overseeing all visitors to the public archives, and the High Curator, at the High Curator's behest. You see the curator. She leans upon a walking cane, and an area of recently taken medicinal concoctions lay upon her writing desk. If you recall what she looks like, I'll show you her token just for the sake of this. Sura Silmaris. She'll watch a spar with you. Why not? She'll walk up with her cane and sort of sit down beside Melina there on the bench, and sort of two hands resting on the cane. Welcome to Ayun's abode, all of you. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, expositors. Though I imagine it must be strange seeing me alive, it is my understanding I have you all to thank for my body's recovery. Though, and she like winces in pain a little bit, the tribulations of resurrections linger. The Dusk Maven bestowed upon me her mercy, and I have been granted a second chance to fulfill my duties to the archive. I've already taken liberty in registering your request for access to the private archives so that Melina, Nia, you may continue your research and your efforts, whatever those may be. It is the least I can do to thank you for rescuing me.
Oh, it's our pleasure, and it's good to hear your voice, and I hope that you can get as much rest. Don't strain yourself too much. But like you said, there's still much to be done. I would assume that Question updated you on everything that we have done in Betrayer's Rise and everything that we have found there, correct?
She has given me her side of the story.
Is there anything that you wish to hear from us? Or anything that we could fill in the cracks of your memory with?
I'm still pondering all that. But to be frank, Betrayer's Rise is a memory I wish to leave behind me for now. There's a haunted look in her eyes, not a pleasant memory passes through.
Fair enough.
My eyes, and the eyes of Ayun, are cast toward the future. You have done so much for us already. Should you wish to accept it, I have a mission for you. And for your lot. Should they wish to serve Ayun in their own merit.
My allegiance is with the library and always will, and I would turn to the rest of everybody else, looking to see what they would want. It would
My
be good
ears
to have.
are
go ahead.
open. My ears are open.
Of
Or is it you
course,
wish?
this does not have to be a religious endeavor. We do not enforce our ways upon anybody, but this is for certainly an opportunity for you. Work, even mercenary work, has its merits. If not insight, then gold. and there is work for you. Those among you eagerly wishing to dedicate yourselves to Alien service, should you accept? From what Question told me, you have been informed of this new arcane element known as ruidium. Our investigators report a rise in the illegal sales of these dangerous magical items being sold all over Ank'Harel. The hands of Ord are doing what they can, but are in dire need for our agents to stem the black market tide. Sura stands, walks toward the edge of like a nearby balcony, and points down to a vantage point, overlooking sort of through a glass pane in the floor, through the window, a glass pane in the roof, rather, like a dome on the roof, to the lower floors, right? And she points past it, pointing down at this pale wizard wearing academic robes. The wizard, who has like numerous body piercings, seems to be minding his own business while reading a book. Next to him leans this like staff topped with like a carving of like a snake head. And Sura whispers, "You see that man? We have intel that this man is likely a cultist of Zahir, the cloaked serpent. The presence of betrayer god worshippers here in Ank'Harel is a peculiar concern. If they are here to acquire ruidium, this may lead to trouble. We cannot apprehend this individual based on rumors alone, however. Your mission..."
Particular.
What?
Peculiar or particular?
Peculiar.
Okay.
Your mission, then, is to follow this individual and, without causing a scene, find out why he's here. Apprehend him if you must and turn him over to the hands of Ord. Report back to me when you're done. However, take care not to act hastily, for he may lead us to the source of these dangerous ruidium artifacts. I have full faith in your capability, Nia and Melina. Let's see the rest of you apply your skills as monastic agents of the Cobalt Soul. Spies, as it were. And by the by, not only do you see the man that she points out, you may or may not recall seeing him around Ank'Harel before. Let me just load up a token, just show you who she's talking about specifically. Here.
Did he have a name other than a pale wizard?
She doesn't know it.
Oh, okay.
He seems to have visited the temple for the past several hours. Sorry, bear with me here. I am trying to get to his token, but it is being a pain in the ass. There it is.
That's okay.
It was just like under layers and layers of like other stuff, so I'm like, oh. The person she points out to you is this individual. Pierced lip, ear, everything. Elven by nature. You've seen him around.
He was underneath the Boza Malora.
Yeah.
Put him like there. Put him actually in the library, but yes.
We need to find out why he's here. He has a snake head staff. What color is it?
Brownish, like wood.
Brown. Oops. Sorry, I'm typing all this little notes out.
Seems to be walking around. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, where do your suspicions come from?
We have trailed this individual, and he has been looking into all sorts of knowledge not often asked by the common folk. He has been to the Crystal Chateau, and he has been to the Terra Schoolhouse, and now here, asking for knowledge that we usually keep in our basement archives. Cultish knowledge, stuff of power, of arcane. Some douchebag is fucking riding a motorcycle right outside my fucking door. And then there's the staff.
Angry cow.
But of course, this is where you come in. A test of sorts. To confirm these suspicions. We cannot arrest them for nothing. This is a precaution. I mean, like, Melina, yeah, you know this. Like, this is how the Cobalt Soul operates. They're operatives, spies for, be the Crown. They're an international organization, right? Working for themselves more than any single faction. But it is the way of Ayun to acquire truth, knowledge, and exposit any would-be evil out there. So this is more like better safe than sorry. See what knowledge you can acquire.
So we can kind of better prepare ourselves. Like, what knowledge was he looking for, or what was he inquiring about that was in the vaults?
One second. I have it. I have to scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, you're good. It's fine.
Means of remaining hidden, and in doing so he was looking for allies, specifically a phantom faction, if you will, called the Veil here in the city. He was looking to join up with their lot or any other such cultish elements, and in the process looking for magics to hide and veil himself. Again, not stuff that the common folk would ask for, and definitely something that puts him on a list. Our list. He was refusing to talk in the open about like exactly what he was trying to research. This is where you guys come in.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course, you cannot blame him. Many eyes throughout the city, and it is an unpleasant sensation to be scryed upon or otherwise followed, but at the same time, we'd rather be safe than sorry.
Well, you've had... I can imagine a very long night and early morning. There's much that you have to catch up on with your time being gone. But perhaps you've heard that our sister faction, the Legions of Allsight, is also having problems too. So perhaps he's trying to infiltrate, or perhaps he can lead us to what some of their problems are too.
That is partially our suspicions as well. There is a mole, a spy in the Allegiance, perhaps even more than one. But we can only deal with one problem at a time, and dealing with this one would eliminate one possibility of many. This is a small task relative to what awaits you ahead should you succeed.
Okay.
Mostly she's looking to test the strangers in her midst. Although she's thankful for you guys saving her life, she also cannot afford to just let anybody in, especially in such a time where spies might be about.
Yeah, of course. I don't know, like, because she just got resurrected, it's like, how much did you take in? Like, obviously you're probably super tired and you want to do a lot, but I just didn't know if she would have heard in that amount of time.
Question has filled her in. She has gotten a report. She still owes duty to this place, this temple. She's still up on her feet and doing her job, though you can see that, you know, she's walking with a cane, suffering the effects of resurrection, as it were. It does take a toll on the body and the spirit.
Okay.
Very much akin to how I imagine, like, Riot sitting on the other bench, just holding his head between his paws, like, trying not to vomit.
Just, like, burped up a bit of blood. Like, whoa.
Do you need another sparkler? I want to talk to...
I want something to drink.
I want to talk to Melina. Addressing Melina. Based on what I've heard, this person is looking for information, looking for, I don't know, truth. Is that not any different than what the rest of the Cobalt Soul does?
The rest of the Kobold Soul is not looking for the Veil or how to join them.
Well, I was talking to Melina.
Sorry.
So
He is right, though. There's a difference between finding knowledge out there that is to keep others safe, to preserve it for other future generations. But when people and those suspicions are coming up, like how the curator had said, trying to find Veil, shadowy organizations, and with people trying to infiltrate each other right now, warranted suspicion, I think, is warranted.
And is there no evidence that perhaps this could be an individual from an allied organization
If,
also trying to find out this information?
just to be clear, this is what she's trying to get you guys to find out. This might be an innocent person. You're absolutely correct. It might be just looking for knowledge just for the sake of knowledge. You are to verify. That is the task.
well, if I trust your word for it. I'm just curious. Just again, I'm not part of your faction, so I understand what you stand for. I know what you stand for, and just hearing your words, it just at first it sounds like this person's doing exactly what you do. Again, talking to Melina, but
Yep.
I'll stand behind it. If you feel this is something we need to look into, I'll follow.
Well, I hope very much, and I think Nia would feel the same too, hopefully, that this person is innocent and that there's just simple miscommunication somewhere, or perhaps we just need to cover our bases with people trying to infiltrate the I'm getting my factions messed up. Allegiance. Yeah, Allegiance of Allsight. It's precaution just to make sure that we're protecting our own here as well. People want to come to the library and learn as much as they can, but it's not always for good. People want to use them, these books, this knowledge, the history, for wrongdoings. We've had members in the past who were enlightened by Ioun and then simply fell, to darkness. There's people who, back in the Empire, who went to what's known as the Cerberus Assembly.
Roll me a history check. Just to back up what you're saying here. You are right. I'm just giving you extra information.
Let me make sure it's at normal.
So, as you're talking about it, like when you sort of circle thoughts in your head, and that sort of verifies memories from your past as you're talking, you actually just now get this flash of genius a little bit. You've read about the current leader of the faction that you now come to have known by the name of the Sentinels of Memory. You just never know them by that name, but certainly heard of the name of their leader, just not in the context of the Sentinels of Memory. Their leader used to be a priest of Ioun, who, as you just said, abandoned the way of Ioun and joined another faction together. Just sort of parallel to what you were just saying. Those two aligned, yeah. His name was last name is Trust. Trast. Watcher Trust. Used to be a priest of cleric of Ioun.
How ironic. Last name Trust. And now we can't trust him.
What a misnomer if I've ever heard one.
But yeah, Melina will reciprocate that information. And, people want to, there's much to learn, and it only takes just a couple curious minds to really delve into those and go down the rabbit hole. And that sometimes ends up in great places, sometimes not. So hopefully he's not one of them. But we have to protect our own and protect what's in these halls. This is our, not just humans and Tabaxi, elf, and dragonborn lore. It's everything. It's the lore of this world of Exandria.
And regarding the staff, I do have a picture of it because you do see how it looks like. Let me just oh, that's beautiful. I'll post it in chat. It looks like this. The reason why they're so certain that he has some affiliation with the cult of Zahir is because, according to the high curate, like the curator before you, this artifact is of the cult. And, maybe it's a replica, maybe he's a fan, or maybe it's the real deal. That's what you guys are here for.
It's Jafar's staff.
Does it
Melinda's
look,
just like, ooh, mummy likey.
does it look like the staff that we confiscated from that guy in the cave?
Nope.
Ironically, Riot's dressed like Aladdin.
Got the big old shoes. Nope. Okay. Frost, a neutral elf priest and a former cleric. Oh, I should write that down. Former cleric.
Do we know who he's serving now?
Who?
The former cleric.
Water Trust?
No.
Yeah. Like, did he join the Sentinels of Memory or the Vermilion Dream, or do we know that?
I'm just letting the party answer first.
Oh, no.
No.
That's what we need to find out is they want to trace it back to Ruidium. So it's possible, but we still need to find that out.
Basically, our mission is to suss out this guy. Be like, who does he work for? What does he want? Chances are, Sora might already know the answer, and this is just to test us.
Sora or Sura?
Whichever one is correct.
She got you there. Fucking get wrecked.
Got
him. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Oh. It's starting to get a little late for me. I know we started the session later, but I'll reach into my into the bag of holding, and said I would be a fool to not give this over to you since this is yours and it belongs to you. I'll pull out her cloak of protection and say, this served us well when we were in Betrayer's Rise. We had many close encounters, and I know this belongs to the curator. Here, it's yours. And so I'd ask what you would like me to do with it.
Acting on your sense of duty, I would have given you inspiration, but you already have a stack of inspiration on you. She will claim it, for it is hers, and her badge of rank, so to speak. And keep it on her person, sort of veiling it around her shoulders. And then looking that it still has like those brown stains of blood upon it, folds it up and thanks you. It is getting late. What I'm gonna do then, guys, is if anybody wants to remain for the next little bit, we can say, because it's gonna you guys have some time to spend here in the library. This individual too is spending their time in the library, keeping to himself, mostly reading like various books that you guys can investigate that sort of element come next session if you want. But he's staying in the library for the time being, and as you're doing the stakeout, this can double as time for you guys to sit down nearby and do some research in the library if you so wish into those subjects that you wanted me to answer over the week. I can do that now, or I can save that for next session. Really up to you guys.
I'm gonna have to check out as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out too.
Sounds good.
I might ask like one or two questions, just pertaining to chronergy and time travel and such.
Sure. So starting with
powerful mages and things.
Yeah, I remember. I've read it. You asked about Wizards of the Past attempts to travel in time, their research. Is there any way to like reset a day or anything around that, or maybe something that allows the wizard to stop time for however long? I'll say that as you're staking out this person, you search the library, and Melina, you find a book. It's denoted donated by the Crystal Chateau University, entitled Aeorian Technology and the Dangers of Dunamancy by Ludinus Deleth of the Cerberus Assembly. You're welcome, Will.
What? I'm not saying anything.
You're not saying anything, exactly. The title catches you for several reasons, being the Cerberus Assembly and all that, and also Aeorian technology. From what you can recall, Aeor is the name of an ancient flying city levitated by the arcane power of like broomstone, the same sort of bluish stone that makes skyships happen. That once existed during the Age of Arcanum, like this is like thousands of years ago. However, historical evidence suggests that the city has since crashed in the northern regions of the biting north of Eiselcross, far, far to the north. Now only ruins and remnants remain of Aeor. You move through the book, reading the ancient esoteric magic of Dunamancy is hardly a novel thing when one considers the wizards of the past. Many among our number have studied the arcane means to bend potentiality and probability. More than one nation had gained control of time, gravity, fate, and the removal of chance from moral action. The Kryn are but the latest to the fold. It is the anticipatory arcane force that helps shape the multiverse and might very well be what holds its elements together, like an infinite web of unseen tethers. To meddle with such magics is to bend the flow of time and space itself. Surely it is the oldest and most fundamental entropic force within Exandria and beyond. You find entries on the possibilities, like the possible origins of Dunamancy, the supposed lore of the beacon's origin, the birth of consciousness in the elemental chaos of our young world, and the shepherding of souls toward a more learned, mature world. You read on, sort of skipping the religious bits, more leaning toward science, the research before that was conducted before even the calamity, research of the age of Aeor and the people who found at least one Luxon beacon, which provided these ancient people with a source for comprehensive research into rejuvenation and a project they called in their own tongue the Hammer of Creation. It is during that time that Aeor society explored aspects of influencing the passage of time. They discovered one could temporarily shunt to a point in one's history, or even move beyond it, leaving like an anchoring echo behind. The author sort of warns of a great risk involved in the process. Individuals who spent more time in the past than predetermined had their echoes fade to the point where the person would just disappear, like a docked ship unmoored from the dock and forever swallowed into the infinite horizon of the ocean. And you read on, like, it is rumored that such research existed within the distant ruins of Eiselcross amid the ruins of Aeor civilization. And you read on that the Cerberus Assembly works hard to uncover it, working with the Empire, and they are yet to fully succeed unearthing this secret of traveling back in somebody's history. The book goes on to sort of talk about more recent history, about the Kryn dynasty, information which you already know, historical records of the Kryn dynasty recovering beacons across Grohas and Taldore, and the art of consecution, and so on. You read on this Cerberus Assembly's perspective. The notion that multiple versions of us exist based on possibilities explored or left to explore across multiple timelines is one of the core concepts of chronomancy, be it divine or otherwise. Concrete evidence of the concept made concrete are observed in those who hone the power to call upon their alternative selves to aid them in battle, hereafter referred to as echoes. Much caution is to be practiced when studying artifacts of the Kryn. On more than one occasion, my understudies found themselves hurled forward in time and losing a dunamis crystal, a device of some sort, in the process. The effect of such an experience discombobulating and often withers the flesh as if aging it rapidly. It just goes on, this tome, to detail the work of the Kryn, Dunamasters, and Spellcrafters, spells to stop, fast forward, slow down, reverse time, magic get out of your reach, but certainly possible. The book briefly mentions efforts of the Cerberus Assembly to attempt to harness this power for the good of the Dwendalian Empire to some degree of success. From what you've heard, their recent success is partially owed to, this is all rumor of course, locks and beacons being stolen from the Kryn dynasty, which only escalated tensions and led to the current war in Wildmount. By the time you're done leafing through the volume, your eyes are almost crossed at this point. It is a big volume by this arcanist from the Assembly.
That's a big old book.
It's a big old book, and I'll paste it all for you in chat so you can sort of review it if you wish, because I know how much you like your notes.
I got a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Anyone want to go to Iceland Cross?
But there's that.
I want to. I actually want to back up just a bit in this storyline here.
To where?
To where the robe was handed over.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Things escalated pretty quickly. So whenever Melina handed over that robe, and Sura had folded it, I want to interject and say, I want to use this. I want to use this and also say the following. When you use, throw it in the chat. When you use that, and say, Sura, while I'm not entirely familiar with the customs here at the Cobalt Soul, Melina did make it aware that you have to earn that cloak. And I just have to say it would be unfair to not share both on Melina and Naya's behalf, that I feel they both have earned their worth. Melina, multiple times, has saved all of our lives, especially sort of aiding in fighting against Aloysia, as well as she was able to use her dunamancy to turn the tides of combat in Betrayer's Rise, as well as Naya herself was able to persuade, charm a Tiamat offspring. I feel like all of those deeds should be made known to you. And I feel like either one of them deserve such a cloak.
The High Curator turns toward Nia and Melina, cloak in hand, and says, "This individual sings you praises, sings of your virtues. What do you think? Knowing our order and what it stands for, do you believe yourselves worthy of having earned this?"
Is this a test? I'm trying to formulate. Go ahead.
Nia would slant her head to the side and kind of very slowly be, I'd say, as honored as I would be to accept such a cloak. We know that it is not any individual's deed that brings status within this order. It is the respect for the knowledge gained and brought to the collective for future It's failing me because it's like for the future collective. I'm gonna use the word world, to utilize to their advantage in the future. And though I would be honored, it is not my choice of whether or not I find myself worthy of such a cloak.
Then whose is it?
Good question.
Expositor, whose choice is it then?
Should kind of like really be a little confused and then also kind of thoughtful, just really trying to think it through and kind of like look a little side-eyed at Melina, just being like, the floor is yours anytime you want it.
What of you, Expositor? Do you believe that you have walked this earth, unveiled, untold knowledge, lost to the age of calamity, brought forth by the age of Arcanum, to its fiery end, and then from the ashes recovered? Do you believe yourself having served Ioun, mortal wounds, and through terrible war, have come all the way here through all you've been through? Do you believe yourself worthy of this?
I would almost have to remain humble in my response, saying that I would be honored to receive such a gift from that of a high curator, someone who has put in their time. Would almost be selfish of me. But I serve Ioun to the greatest capacity, going over the highest of mountains to the lowest of plains, to the depths of hell itself and to the abyss, in order to preserve the knowledge that we have. The cloak has served us greatly. It's protected us with the knowing mistress's, guidance and protection that she allows us to unravel these secrets of Elixion and where we plan on going to the depths of Calmoro. And if it would be, what's the word I'm looking for? If you would deem us worthy, then I would accept it and carry it proudly into Calmoro, knowing that the library was there to unravel these mysteries and to bring Elixion back to light.
You invoke the words before Ioun herself. She looks toward a statue in your midst, the known lady bearing down upon you. Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
Persuasion.
The Cobalt Soul, our progenitors, have sought to recover what was lost. Kyle Morrow is only one of our more recent ventures.
Fuck.
And I hope that in time,
Not even guidance will help.
through tireless effort, you will eventually usher forth us, our faction, and the society to an enlightened future.
But that humility, I mean, look at these two.
Nia nods and enthuses and remains humble with Melina and helps persuasion.
I use whatever I can use. I don't know if that Heart of Darkness does anything to help the situation. A cheery attitude.
She then turns towards Zeno. Why are you here? You've spoken before, as if your very presence here is a favor to us, as if this is something you're forced to do. But truly, why are you here?
I'm here now because I trust these two. And so, standing sort of behind Nia and Melina, answering the question, I put my either hand on either shoulder of these two, and I would say, because I trust these two. We've been together through quite a journey, and through that journey, I myself have been enlightened. I myself have felt the touch of the Moonweaver, and I would not have done so without either of them. And so they have a dedication, a loyalty to this wonderful library, the Cobalt Soul. They've said nothing but given this faction high regard. And because this place, this organization is important to them, it has become important to me. That is why I'm here.
Actions. Actions will speak louder than your words. Succeed in this mission, and I shall give your proposition a second thought.
With that, he gives either of them like a hearty like a pat on the back, like with either hand on either shoulder, and just like, but really a hard smack. Like, see, just gotta ask.
Well, it was very kind of you.
You
to speak
deserve
up for
it.
us.
Both of you deserve it. Yes, you both deserve it.
If we cut it in half, do we both get the +1?
Well, I was thinking
You would
each get to
destroy
put an arm in either.
No, I would
sleeve.
not say that in character. Fuck no.
Empires and states and people thrive on misinformation, propaganda. Word means little to the Cobalt Soul archives. For as long as we have operated since our very inception, we have used word and have fought word. It is your actions that shall speak. You have gained our favors, access to our libraries, to the public archives for what you have done so far. My personal trust. However, this, and she holds up the cloak, is more than something I earned. You have worked hard to get to where you are. One last climb, one last step. You're on the right path, Melina and Nia. And your silent friends as well. She points to Julian and Riot, who's probably having, like, barely staying conscious open in the back there.
No, Riot has something to say, but he's just staying quiet right now.
Fair enough. Saving it.
Riot will stand up and walk over and stand behind a little bit, just next to Melina. We all don't know our true purpose here. We all have been touched by something a little bit higher than what we are. Perhaps it's Ayun showing us the way, perhaps Melora or Sahin. But the visions that you know we've had from Question, you know that our cause for being here is more than just our simple desire. There's something pulling us. And after what I experienced today, sparks are what leads us through the darkness. Our light is what actually creates hope. And we are about to venture somewhere very dark and dangerous, perhaps to find a light, but we do not know.
A navigator without direction ends nowhere fast. I suggest that you contemplate your reason here and find the true purpose of why you're here. Walking blindly, that is a path to nowhere.
I've been looking for guidance ever since I arrived. That's why I'm going to be going to the shrine that's north of the Life Dome to seek it.
She gives you a look at it, say like this has little to do with what she's talking about right now, but okay.
No worries.
Yeah, like she has. I'll be frank. She asked a bunch of you guys like why you're here in the temple. I know why Melina is here. Obviously, I know why Nia is here. If this is a sort of half-hearted, we're here because they're here. This is not our quest. We're just here to support our friends. Then all you have is words. And,
Oh no, it's more
yeah.
we're here to search for we're here on the behalf of the jewel itself. That was what he was more saying. Like going into Bazzoxan, the being touched by greater beings, like the visions itself is the reason why they're here.
Mm-hmm.
I might be tired enough not to actually portray that
That's
properly,
okay.
but
On Fresh Minds, we can pursue from here next session and perhaps have a better conversation where the DM is not tired from a 12-hour shift and the players are not falling asleep in their chairs at 10 p.m. We can call it here, certainly. And
That's a great idea.
continue from here.
I think that's a great idea.
Cool. You guys have the option of me conducting answers to your questions through your research over RP chat. Frankly, I'd rather do them in session, that way everybody is here can witness, or at least can't say that we're not here to hear it, right? But yeah. But I will let people go if they need to go.
alrighty. Cheers, guys. Fun session.
All right, cheers. Have a good one.
I'm gonna hop off as well.
Good night.
Hi, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodbye. I love you. I miss you.
All the sweet nothings.
All the sweet nothing. All the things she said. All the things she said. Running through my head. Running through my head.
Tattoo in the year 2023 of our Lord.
Hey, don't talk shit on Tattoo.
Mm.
God damn it. All these... Oh, I forgot to charge these batteries.
You didn't even watch the D&D movie. There's a part where a wizard has to attune to an item, and he's like confronted by his past or whatever, self or an ancestor or whatever, and the whole bit is he has to like build enough confidence to like tell himself he's good enough for the item, essentially. And this is just like reminding me of that. Like, if you cannot tell yourself that you deserve this thing, if you're gonna play this game of being humble and stuff, then how can somebody else tell you deserve something? You know?
I mean, it comes down to like also like a rank thing. It's like if you would literally have every, monk and archivist or whatever just saying like, oh, I did a lot of good work. I've put in the effort. Yeah, I deserve that. And there's nothing wrong with having that feeling. Be like, yeah, I worked hard today. I deserve like a beer on the couch or something. That's fine. To me, it also just comes down to like a rank thing too. Because if we were just handing them out, well, everyone would have it. And it wouldn't have that symbolism.
She's not just hanging it out. She's asking you,
No, I know.
Do you, at this point of your Cobalt Soar career, so to speak, feel like you've done so much for the organization that you would declare that you deserve it? If you cannot even commit to the first step of being confident enough to say that that is true in a society that pursues whose pursuit is truth, then how can she in good conscience give it to you? You know, that sort of thing. Also 5. Also 5 is just an unfortunate rule.
Also what?
A 5.
Oh yeah, I knew it was gonna be something low. I'm like, well, fucking watch this.
It's only thematic. But yes, but even without the rule, it's like genuinely in your heart, having arrived in Ankarel less than 3 days ago, venture to the temple for the first time. The first act you're gonna be like is, I deserve to be I deserve to be a curator, sort of thing, you know. And then just me as a DM just trying to get people thinking about why they're here. Sort of what I asked over the week, really. Try and come up with a reason why you're here in the temple. And what's your personal reason? How can you help your party? Because answers like, I'm here because my party is here, it's not. It's not good.
Yeah.
There can be better reasons, is what I mean. Certainly.
I'm trying to think of I mean, I'll take the week to look it over. I can't remember. Did I post to you? No, I posted it in chat. Never mind. What the questions I was asking. I thought of something else today, but...
You did. Something else today? No, you were asking about the resurrection of the Raven Queen, about wizards of the past, about Ruidus, and about remnants of the Betrayed Gods. Questions I can answer now if you really want to, and I just re-answer them in session just to save your curiosity, because I had that prepared, but party space. So,
I mean, I guess I could wait in session, I guess, or maybe I'll just do it throughout the week or something.
Whatever you prefer.
Because that way, if I have the answers from you first, I could actually RP that to the party, be like, guys, I was reading this book. This is what I found, and
I mean, to be fair,
that way
I can just repost
like,
it. I can just repost it in RP chat too.
Yeah.
And I'm just asking if you want me to do that now.
Give me a day or two, because if you put it in now, my fucking dumb monkey brain is gonna be like, oh, ooh, and fucking forget about it, because I'm getting kind of tired. I had to work in the fucking rain all day today, and then just be on my feet, so I'm already exhausted. And I have to do it again tomorrow.
Sure.
But yeah, I gotta fix my notes too, because also
I bet
Microsoft Word is not allowing me to save this to my OneDrive for some reason. Because that way I can just copy and paste everything in
Why are you
there.
saving things to your OneDrive and not just making a docs document?
I do, and it's saved locally. But I also want it on my OneDrive.
Why not just save it in docs, which is not your OneDrive?
No, I don't want Google Docs.
Okay, fair enough.
Excuse me. I barely use that. I know it's probably a great thing. OneDrive kind of already does the same thing for me. I actually went through. Remember that mod I was telling you about for Tabletop Simulator, the Warhammer 40K stuff?
Sure.
Because it was put onto my computer and it's all like 3D scanned images of like multiple models and of like multiple variants. I had, I think, over 4,000 or 5,000 photos just dedicated to that on the drive.
Yikes.
It's like, Jesus Christ, man. It's fucking nutty. Also, all weekend, oh my god, I was like balls deep into like World War I history, reading up on the books of Weird War I for Savage Worlds, and trying to understand it and everything. So I'm going to reach out to the community and see if someone can kind of guide me through a couple things. But I also just need to sit down and just like start with the book again, because I went flipping through pages a little bit, did a bunch of other shit, but I was reading it, and a lot of stuff I like, and then a lot of stuff I'm just kind of like, why'd they pick this?
It's your job as DM to pick what you like and get rid of what you don't.
Yeah, it's just the way that they handle movement. They kind of treat it like as if you are on an actual tabletop or like playing in person. Obviously, you can recreate that on, Foundry or Roll20, but instead of having movement, it's called pace. And I think it's for every inch you move, it's technically 2 yards. And I'm just like, yards? Why the fuck are you measuring in yards? And so I have to do another conversion. I'm like, how many feet are in a yard? It's like 3 feet in a yard. I'm like, god damn it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's annoying, but it's like, I can get around it. But you use inches on the grid.
I don't see how that's a problem, though. You can just have a grid on
No,
the
it's not.
VTT.
Yeah, you can do a grid on a VTT. You can change it to inches and be like, okay, my character moves 3 paces, like 3 inches, which is 2, 4, 6 yards. So
It's
that's
the same
6
with
that's
D&D,
8
though.
feet.
So, like, any D&D map you ever make, if it's a grid of, like, 5 feet by 5 feet, all those squares have a uniform amount of inches, and they're all the same. If you print a map, it has to be that. Because when you get tokens, when you get large tokens, when you get giant tokens, they're always the same dimensions, universally, right? So it's also, we just don't call it pace, we don't call it, but we definitely, you would find books where it's like, you move so many inches. I think it's just the language is there for ease of people who play at a tabletop, so to understand.
it's
especially if you're
different.
playing on a terrain that doesn't have a grid on it. Like somebody built a terrain,
Yeah, exactly.
so that way you know how to scale it, sort of thing. So you know how big objects are, and if you're buying minis or like objects like a barrel or something, it will be like to scale to that inch edge. That's not a word, but whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, it was just different because I'm so used to working in feet for D&D for so many years, and I'm just like, my big dumb ape brain, paces. That's fine. I can understand paces. It's just going from like inches. That's fine.
Well,
Like, which represents 2 yards. Fuck, there's 3 feet. There's 3 feet
Per yard.
in 1 yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, per yard. It's just my brain is like, oh my god, fucking calculating. I don't know. I read up on a lot of cool things though.
Like, what is it? Like 2 yards, just the height of a person.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's what I go with.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not bad to understand because the game, like you said, like it doesn't work off of like the system doesn't have the verbiage of this affects this in 10 feet, whatever. There's a distance chart and everything though, but it's not bad. It just I was like, oh man, yards. Why'd you use yards? I don't know. That's the part that just got me, but just again, big dumb ape brain.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, running back to the session, because me, I need feedback. You said Melina did not like the temple of the flock, of the Dusk Maven, having witnessed a miracle of a soul being put to rest and all that, and the intrigue behind, that soul being brought to a Luxon beacon and all that. Well, I'll just tell you straight up, like, I was surprised when you said that you didn't like it, because I thought that as a spy, as an expositor, as somebody who seeks knowledge and insight into that, especially because you want to research into the Raven Queen, I thought that you would take interest in that, and you're like, well, I didn't, and then you're like, I hated all of it. I didn't like any of that.
No, it doesn't that I hated it. It just seemed like very barbaric. Like, it's like, I understand that the Raven Queen is there. It's like saying, like, you have Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim, Shintoism, and all that stuff. It's like, you believe in this, like representing, let's say they represent the gods. It's like, cool, I believe in Ayun, whatever. For me to go into another religion and see that, be like, whoa, this, like, I know the gods exist, obviously, we know that, but not experiencing that, it just seems like very barbaric. Like, go into this blood pit and
how would you commune with
you're
Ayun?
going to drown in it and everything. Not that way.
Exactly.
No, exactly.
Why
That's
what
I'm saying.
Why would you not
wouldn't
communicate with Ayun that way?
Why would I?
Why?
She doesn't ask that of you to, like, basically kill yourself and commune with me that way.
So why does the Raven Queen ask that of you?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to know, like, why would she require you to kill yourself? But at the same time, it's like, that seems pretty barbaric, and it just seems like very, like, there's a level of memento mori where it's like, okay, we accept that we die and everything, and then that's cranked up to, like, 10. Or, like, 11. And I was like, woof, like, this is... God damn, like, I'm surprised the Empire like this, but, like, that's just me. That's just her opinion.
It doesn't. The Raven Queen is not praised by the Empire, no.
I could have swore that they said that they believe, like, Paylor and a couple others, but I thought the Raven Queen was on there, too.
It's different in Raquette as it is in the Empire, as it is in Assyria, as it is in Tal'Dorei. The Raven Queen might be, like, recognized, but this sort of worship that you just witnessed is not Empire level of worship. That's why I described the holy symbol different. That's why I described the flock as different. It's why we'll laugh because he understood the reference to Marquette and the way they do things here. In the Empire, it's different. It's much more mysterious and just embalming and more like a clergy for church, less so like a death cult, if you will. But yeah. Okay, well, I mean, that answered my questions. It is what it is.
It's more of like, the parallel I'm trying to say is like, say I'm a Christian, okay, and I'm literally just picking a random, look, okay, I go and believe, what's Buddhism or Shintoism or something, I'd be like, yeah, this isn't jiving with me. Like, I don't agree with this stuff. This isn't how I perceive my version of it. That's what I'm trying to draw at.
Yeah, and I get that, but I'm not
Okay.
talking about religion here. I'm talking about you, an expositor, looking at this from an academic point of view, trying to seek knowledge and stuff, trying to like witness something that you don't witness a lot or before at all. Looking into death, you were looking into resurrection, you were looking into changing the past, undoing death, undoing unfortunities, looking into the Raven Queen, and I was looking to see your reaction from an academic point of view, and I was just surprised that the religious disagreement sort of bled into the academic, and if that is what it is, it's fine. It's just a game, but we're just role playing at the end of the day. I was just looking for your insight about that, and I think I got it. I wouldn't make parallels between real world religions and this world because
It's
gods,
not about drawing.
gods are
Yeah, it's-
are less about faith. They're more about world creation is concrete, and thanks to gods, they're there. Like you can't to be. You have full right to be agnostic or a religious in this world, but you will be the minority in this case. Whereas in our world, it's the opposite, which is why I don't like drawing parallels and stuff. But I get what
But
you're
I have
saying.
to draw parallels in order to convey. I know they're two totally separate different things, but that's the closest of what we have in real world in order to compare to something that's fictional. That's where I have to compare that.
Sure. All right. Well, really, the bottom line is what Riot wanted to do, he fulfilled, so that's good. They just open another door that may or may not be pursued by the party. We'll see.
But the other door is in what?
Well, I mean, like, why did you go to the temple there in the first place?
Well, because Riot wanted to get rid of the curseness and put the soul at ease. Excuse me.
Right.
And though I probably looking back on it, probably could have said a little bit more, but it just like to me, like as a person, I don't know anything about the Raven Queen.
I wonder what Zeno's
Much
opinion
right now.
about all this is, because I mean, he owes his roots to the Raven Queen and all that, and this is not too far away from what the Blood Hunters are about, anyways. So,
Yeah, I was actually gonna try to
like, this is not
cue something
barbarism.
up.
This is hemomancy. This is, you've witnessed hemomancy, like, and this is a part of it too. It's why hemomancy is banned in the Empire, because people are like, it gives them the ick, which can be argued that people are ignorant, but also like people don't want to witness the grim and all that, and blood magic can cross certain thresholds that lead into question of what the Empire can hold power over or not.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier today because we had just touched base on a phone call, and I was like, "Oh yeah, don't forget we're going to the Raven Queen." And I reminded him, soft reminder, like, "Hey, that's where all your stuff came from.
If
all
he
your
so
powers."
decides, right? Because I think that he's decided that, like, I'll look into the tournament. That's what I'm interested in, and that's fine. I mean, there you go. There'll be the tournament, and you can find out all that information if you go there and make that your location. I'm not gonna force him to be like, praise the Raven Queen and all that. Obviously, that's not his angle. He's all about Sehanine and the moon and werewolves and all that. He doesn't have to, especially if he doesn't come from a Critical Role sort of background to know the lore. I'm not gonna judging for him. But this, I will lie if I would say that a part of me is sort of down because I asked over the week, like, whatever you guys decide to do next session, make sure that everybody has a reason to be there. That way you're doing something. That way it's not just I'm here because my party's here. That's the same thing with the temple. Well, the Raven Queen, the same thing with the Temple of Fayun sort of thing. Because otherwise it's just 5 people waiting for their turn to go where they want to. And that's really not how I want to play D&D, frankly. I would much prefer it if the entire party was somehow involved. Which is sort of what happened toward the end of the session, to be fair. Zeno trying to speak up for you and all that. It's just unfortunate that you rolled a 5 and all you guys have is words. The deeds of resurrecting a high curator have granted you access to the library without having to prove yourselves being trustworthy to access that knowledge, so you're free to research. And I'm even doing you guys a favor of not being like, okay, you take like a week of time and like 25 gold pieces of resources to research just one topic. I'm just like, no, you browse the library, you leaf through it, you find a topic, you find, moving on, sort of thing. That way you have like, you're armed with the knowledge and we're not spending weeks doing this stuff, because sometimes you have to suspend realism, right, for the sake of fun. So I gave you guys the library. I gave you guys a place to research, especially for Nia, because she wanted to be a researcher and have a place where she can look up answers. There you go. You have a library. But like the rank of a curator, without having done a single quest for this local faction, is kind of do one quest, see how you serve, where your alliances sort of lie. We're giving you the benefit of the doubt because you've worked with our allies, but at the same time you've never worked with us, and you know Julian is not saying anything, so I still need to get his trust, right? And all that. So hopefully,
Yeah, I'm fine with working for them and gaining trust. That's normal.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that you're fine with it, because I know I said that I sort of skipped the initial quest, and I did, because I don't want to waste your time. On being like, well, we don't know who Melina is, we don't know who Nia is. I don't want to do that. You made your character with a background for this very purpose. It's just, I feel like if I just willy-nilly gave, a curator's cloak and then like immediate trust to just anybody who walks in the temple, then I'll hear from Lorian later that like, wow, these guys really trust just anybody, right? Low security. I think I've heard from some of you guys before about the Allegiance of Allside, how they're like lackluster about spies in their midst, or don't seem to care about news of you guys being attacked and stuff like that.
I think it makes perfect sense to do what you're doing. You don't have to validate it to me. I think that's normal. I mean, technically, I could have just held on to the cloak and said, like, yeah, it's mine now. Suck it, nerd. But I was just like,
I figured you want to return it. That was your initial act. If you're like, this is your, I am not deserving this is yours, she's going to take it and be like, yes, I recognize this gesture. And then, like, Xeno's like, oh, actually, she does deserve it. And I'm like, okay, well, Melina can speak for herself. You make a gesture once, do you change your mind now? Do you think you deserve it? Like, I want to give you like a chance to speak as well, because if Xeno wants it, that's one thing, But if it's like, actually Melina deserves it, then Melina should speak up for herself, I think.
Yeah, just my background and just with everything I have, it's like if I was to go into like a job or even the military, like if you still have anything with a rank structure, it's a very very slight like neo-militarized thing. It's like you have ranks, you have your structure, you report to subordinates report to higher ups, and for me it's like, well, that's like me going to ask a sergeant, like, hey, I deserve this rank. We're like, no, you time in service, and it comes with, you do your duties at this level. Can you do your duties well at this level? And
I understand you have your life background. I would ask you to think of it less of a military perspective, because there are factions that are militaristic. The Monastery of the Cobalt Soul is more like a teacher-mentor sort of relationship, like a mentor and student. You look up to your mentor, which can be a rank on its own, I suppose. You look up to your mentor, and your mentor is asking you, do you think that you are fit to teach others? Do you that you're fit to be in a position that I am in? Do you think that you have learned everything that I have to teach you, and you've earned this cloak? That is more along the lines of what I was trying to go for.
Yeah.
Less to be like, do you think you earned the stripes? No, like this is more like a, have you walked this earth, recovered knowledge, and think that you have the experience to be a shining example to neophytes among us? Because this is what this cloak means. If you are uncertain in the answer, then maybe, you can survive without a +1 to AC, is what it all boils down to. Of course, you could have kept it, but you chose what you chose. We'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll see what next session brings too. And all that.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that like it wasn't just like, I thought like, it was just gonna be like just Riot going to the temple and we'll just do like a 10-20 minute thing and then turn to the rest of the party sort of thing. Like finish with that and go, because I don't think anybody else but Riot whatever. It is what it is.
Well, it sounded like he knew what was going on and everything, and so I was just kind of like being quiet, like just chilling.
What do you mean?
I'm just like, well, like before session, he was like, well, because he has all this critical role stuff, and I guess stuff happens in critical role with Dust Maven or something.
No.
Sometimes I don't know.
No. I mean, like, he got the reference that I was making regarding something toward the end of the session with the Cobalt Soul. But that's like not something he's applying in character or anything. He was just laughing about. Oh yeah, he was laughing about me mentioning the author of the book he just read. Right, that's just like flavor. It's not really affecting you in any way. I mean, like I say service assembly, and you can make your own exceptions, right? You can look up the name of the author, and I'll give you that same information, right? If you're really curious. But it doesn't affect anything in our campaign. It's more like an Easter egg for him to laugh at. And I'm like, yeah, there you go, because I know he's a fan. But in terms of the temple, no, he was witnessing it the same as any of you guys. You saw a pool of blood, and I narrated through it, and you took the plunge. It's a temple of death. I announced it as such. You know, he
made it sound like he knew like something was gonna happen, or like he has to really do something. Like this is before you joined chat. I'm still in your stream. I was trying to figure out where this music was coming from. Jesus Christ.
I wasn't there before I joined stream, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, I disconnected by accident.
Mm.
No, he was like really like hamming it up. Not hamming it. What's the word? Julian, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Are you fucking creeping? Not saying shit.
I just been listening, just chilling.
No, what was Riot saying? Do you remember exactly? Like what he was saying? Like he was before we go to the temple. He's like, "Oh yeah, I might have to be doing all this and that," and I can't remember exactly what it was.
You mentioned something about Vox Machina. He said
Yes.
if it's similar to what he's seen in Vox Machina, then it's gonna be pretty intense or something along those lines.
Yep.
I didn't know what it was though.
Yeah, so I was just letting him just take the lead. I'm like, I obviously don't know what's gonna happen, and you have more of an idea. I thought I was gonna maybe help and be like, oh, cool. You do this. Maybe we can banish the thing or whatever. But I was like, all right, that's fine.
I told you that you could have done that, and then you told me that you wanted to see what the flock can do. This was.
Well,
like,
I wanted to see and like talk and then do whatever. Then the next thing I know, he's like in a blood pool, and I'm like, all right, fuck, this moved really fast. Because I had said before you got in, it's like, well, I have other. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I just didn't want to take that away from anyone and just be like, I cast banishment on your sword, and it's just like I did that in the house, and they're gonna be like super pissed, and it's like I took that away. So I thought it would be like explore options maybe, or be like,
you didn't cast banishment on the sword and not open any door. Now you know there's that the soul can return to a beacon for one reason or another. Right? It's not like you came out of it empty-handed.
No, I'm not saying I did.
So, choices, consequences, and this time the consequences are such. Say what you will about Will, he's still role-playing his character. I mean, the clergy is ushering him to the next room. He's gonna walk into the next room. He's gonna see what's there, and they're gonna tell him that this is a place of communion. He's gonna listen, and he's gonna commune.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything against Will.
And I had him roll a wisdom save, and I was whispering to him things in private while you guys were making rolls to try and rescue him, because he's witnessing one thing under the waters while you guys are witnessing him dying, right? Anybody else who would have accepted the Raven Queen into their heart at that moment would have been in the same scenario as he is, receiving those same whispers, right? But the thing is that from what I've seen, is everybody's watching Riot take the Matron of Death to his heart on this mission, and everybody else is watching. And so I described the scene from your perspective, sort of thing. You watch the bubbles for a while, then there's no bubbles, you don't see the body resurface, nothing. So you guys dive after him, which is great, because that's the way to retrieve him back, right? And if that's... I can't do anything about the pacing. The pacing is what it is. If I play any slower, then that's painful for me a little bit. I have no problem with rolling things back if you feel like something was glazed over. No problem. But like I can't slow down things when it's narrative like that, because things are happening. I don't know, like I will, like anybody at any point can really stop me and be like, well, I want to do this before this happens, right?
I mean, I'll just have just said in like retrospect, just talking to one of the priests, like I guess when we entered, just hey, what's the deal with the, Raven Queen? What makes resurrection like? Why would she be willing to give up like a soul back into the real world when
She's not a jailer of
she controls
souls.
it? No, she's not a jailer.
She's
I'm
an
just saying,
usherer.
like, that's
A soul has a time to pass on to the afterlife, to the next life after this one. She ushers them through. If it's not their time yet, she'll certainly return them. That's how the hemocraft magic works. If somebody kills themselves before their time is due, it's not their fate to drown in the pool. And if it is, well, then you saw that Xeno has touched a body that remained in that pool because that was that person's time to die. And that soul did not return. That whole religion is sort of based around that aspect. It's why undeath and vampires and liches and people who pervert that concept, right? They're being haunted by agents of the Raven Queen because those people have denied Raven Queen from ushering their souls to the afterlife like they were fated, right? They avoid their fate, that inevitable element. They have worked to escape it. Yeah, and that's why it's so important not to draw parallels between religion and our nihilism or our like philosophy of what fate is and stuff, and what the creators of these religions, these deities, this lore. It's more not to draw a complete parallel because there's certain ideas here that are so foreign to what we think that are the lore that we live in. Of course, a character does not have to accept those virtues and stuff, but they certainly do exist still. And a lot of factions disagree, Ask the Cerberus Assembly, for example, any of those powerful mages who want to become powerful, live forever and all that, live with simulacri or become liches or whatnot, ask them of the Raven Queen and they'll have their own opinions, of course.
I want to ask Vecna. I want to send a message of sending to Vecna.
You don't know Vecna,
I know who he is.
That's not how sending works, though.
Who's Vecna? Wait, what?
What?
Also, this is okay. I know, I'm going to call you out on this. You said last week you cannot cast sending to a dead person. You cannot cast sending to a soul.
I'm using your logic. Yes, I'm using your logic.
Last week you argued me into like, we need to turn
I literally
our lore.
fucking know what I said, Tom. I fucking know. I'm literally using your logic. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I want to send a message to Vecna.
So?
Who's Vecna?
Vecna's an old, BBEG from, older editions.
He's a betrayer god.
Oh. Did you have to meet the person to cast sending to them, or...? I'm misremembering that.
I don't have it up in front of me.
You send a short message of 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. The creature hears the message in its mind, recognizing you to be the sender if it knows you, and can answer in a like manner immediately. To a creature with which you are familiar.
That's very gray. Familiar. What if I read up on this person and I
sure it is if you're
understand their
DM.
mannerisms? Yeah, no, I was gonna. Okay, sure.
I have a very clear definition of what familiar is what I mean. It's not gray in my lore. Familiar means somebody that you know. You've met, you know who they are, you know that they're not, disguised somehow else. And if they are disguised, you're contacting their disguise, not who they are, right? It's a lot of spells have that wording with which you are familiar, not just sending. So I drew that line beyond the gray a long time ago because it was gray at first, but I had to define it later. Familiar in this case would be you've met Vecna, you know how to contact them, because then why would that line even be there if you can just read about a person and contact them? Then that line is not necessary anymore, sort of thing. So like being like, I sent sending to that dog that followed us because it has more than one intelligence and it can reply if it wants to.
Yeah. He says, "Bork bork, throw me a ball, bork bork."
Well, animals have their own language, but yes.
That's what he says.
Sure.
Then he's like, "Hey, give me some tubby rubs."
Sending to Bahamut.
Fucking send you to Bahamut. What's up, Daddy?
Familiar. Same thing with scrying too. Like if I couldn't draw a line over the gray line, then I could just scry on anybody, without even considering the C for the wisdom saving throw. Because I can just be like, well, I've seen them and I know their name from like a third-hand person that told me about them, so I have celebrity knowledge about them. Like Tom, I can't be like, I am familiar with Hugh Jackman. Like, I've heard of him, never met him. I don't know his mannerism. I don't know what he's like as a person. I only have like tabloid level rumors about him. I've seen him in movies, which is acting, which is not telling much about what he's like as a real person, sort of thing. You know, that's sort of where I'm ungraying that line. You know, you've met Sura, absolutely consented to her because you know her mannerism, you know who she is and stuff. Even though you've only spoken to her once now in her life.
Does Melina have sending?
I don't think
Only
so.
with the sending stone. Yeah, just the sending stones that I have. It casts the message sending.
To the other stone.
That actually reminds me. I'm so glad I remembered. In the wording of that item, excuse me, I'm eating some chips. It says when it's used, it casts the message sending.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person can reply. It just works just like the spell. Can it only work once between the two people, or can one person on one end send it one time and the other person receives it and sends a message back, and then the opposite person can do the same thing? Or is it just one spell for the whole day?
Sending stones come in pairs with each smooth. While you touch one stone, you can use an action to cast the sending stone. The sending spell from the stone you're holding. The target is the bearer. The target is the bearer of the other stone. If no creature bears the other stone, you know that fact as soon as you use the stone and don't cast the spell. It is not wasted this way. Then, once sending is cast through the stones, plural, they can't be used again until the next dawn. If one of the stones in a pair is destroyed, the other becomes non-magical. Let me think about it.
Yeah, because I was just curious. Like, maybe I was overthinking, but I was also like, I don't know. Like, in a weird way, it gives the power to the first person to always communicate first. Because if they communicate first, it's like, okay, well, I can reply back. But then it's like, well, fuck, what if I have to say something later? Do I get the ability to, or no?
So the answer is really easy because, you know, A, it's an uncommon item. So I see intent here. B, it's right there in text. You use it once. You cast either from either of the stones. Sending stones counts as, they are like two separate objects, but they are the same magical item set. There are many items magical that come in a set, not just sending stones, and they all use the same charge. This is the DMG. This is me just reading the rules from the DMG. So once you cast sending, you get to speak your message. The other person gets to speak back, and then cannot be used until next dawn. The only reason why you have two stones is to declare who is your target. Yeah. That's the only reason why you have two. But once you cast a spell once, it's only one use. So
I just wanted to make sure.
The sending stones are now in sort of a cooldown till next dawn. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Which is fine.
That's how I thought it was.
You never replied to the message, but that's, whatever. She at least knew you received it, because otherwise the spell would have not cast. She knew you were in possession of it.
Yeah, I just probably jumped the gun on, like, oh, hey guys, gang called, we gotta go.
Which is funny, because the next 25 words you utter are probably the reply she heard.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. So in a way, yeah. I know Julian's just creeping. I'm just wondering if he has any feedback.
You're
I'm just listening. Chilling
Cool.
out. No,
chilling out, relaxing, maxing, all cool.
Cool.
I'm really tired. I'm just like half asleep in my chair.
Go to fucking bed then. I'm gonna hop off because my feet fucking hurt and I'm
Alright.
exhausted from working in the rain all day. I'm just mentally drained. I have to do it all again tomorrow, and it's gonna rain again. So, fuck everything.
Cool.
Night.
Good night, my baby boys. Sleep well. I hope you get some Sandman in your eyes. Go nighty night.
Good night.